Pick the Nintendo Shack and pray. Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening says, yo.
Greetings, Skibblings. Welcome to this week's episode of the Nintendo Shack Podcast, episode 372, Firmware 20.0.0. I'm Rebecca here with Donnie. Devin is, Delvin, I'm sorry. What did I say, Devin? Delvin is joining us a little bit later. He's running late today. Told us to get started. How are you, Donnie? Off to a great start.
Perhaps better than you, I think.
I had a rough couple days. Oh my God. And last night was like the cherry on top of it all. Luckily, everything's okay. But can I rant for a minute?
Sure. Poor Devon.
None of it is, what? Devon? Poor Devon.
Devon.
That's a valid spelling of the name Devin. I knew it was Devin with that spelling.
Yeah.
Oh, in fact, I think that's the normal spelling. I think our Devin spells it weird. Okay, so this is nothing about this is video game related, so I apologize, listeners.
We're on brand.
So Friday, I don't even need to go into specifics. I just had a really awful day at work. It was just one of those work days, and students were acting up. I literally went into the bathroom and cried. Like, I sat on the bathroom floor and cried. Like, it was like one of those. And so I get home, and Josh had a horrible day too because he has really bad tooth pain. And you know how bad tooth pain is when it's, constant, it's not going away. He has a dentist appointment booked, but like when you have tooth pain, like there's nothing else you can think about is that tooth pain. So he's miserable and I'm miserable. And we went out to dinner with my parents. That was nice. All that was good. But then we came back. We were still feeling pretty miserable. And we're like, you know what, let's watch a movie. Let's just, chill, take it easy, watch a movie tonight. And I'm like, you know what, I really want to watch that movie that came out last year called Flow. It's like this animated, no dialogue. It's about like this black cat. I don't really know what it's about, but people were saying that it's like kind of similar to the game Stray. And the game Stray, I love the game Stray. And this movie Flow, it won like 15 Oscars. I'm like, it has a cat. Perfect option, right? Could not have picked a worse option for having a horrible day. Donnie, I was violently sobbing.
Devastated.
The movie wasn't even over. Josh says I just needed to get out what I was feeling throughout the day. And he's probably right. But I had to pause the movie twice. I had tissues. I was like hyperventilating.
Ugly cry.
It was like, I had a problem. Like, it was very overly dramatic, and I couldn't help it was all just coming out.
Wow.
So then I was miserable going into the night. Okay. Saturday, this was Friday night. I would still recommend the movie, by the way. Just don't watch it after you have a horrible day. Watch it when you're feeling like good, and you'll probably feel good when you're watching the movie. Saturday, better day. Took it easy. I slept half of the day. I had breakfast sandwich. I bet on the Kentucky Derby. I won $100. Go Sovereignty. Amazing. Love it. That was not a bad day. It was just like kind of, good in between.
You want a Pro Controller?
What?
You want a Pro Controller?
Basically. Yeah, I want a Pro Controller. Great. Cool. Love it. No, I bet across 3 horses. I bet $20 on one, $10 on 2 other horses. I should have just put it into all of it into my favorite horse, because my favorite horse was the one that won, the $20 horse. So I got $140, $100 winning.
Nice.
So my parents are just left on a trip to the Grand Canyon and some other national parks. So I saw my mom yesterday, said goodbye to her and stuff. They had a flight very early this morning at like 6 or 7 a.m. My light is flashing. This cannot be a good sign. You see that, right? You see that happening?
Yeah.
I don't need this right now.
It's strobe effects.
I do not need this at this time.
It's like the clubs.
Okay, hold on.
There you go.
We're going to be in the dark for right now.
Cozy.
So my parents were leaving on a trip this morning, flight really early. I stayed up late. Me and Josh, we went to bed at like 1 or 2 a.m. I'm a heavy sleeper. So
No.
Josh, yes, very heavy. And Josh is like shaking me awake. He's like, your mom's calling. I'm like, what? And I look over, my mom's calling me. It was like 4 a.m. And I answer the phone and I'm like, hello? And she's like, Rebecca, we were just in a multi-car accident on the interstate in our Uber.
Wow.
I'm like, what? Like, their Uber driver, I think, was swerving to avoid an accident in front of them and then got rear-ended, and then there were multiple cars. I'm like, oh my God, like, are you okay? Like, do you need me to come pick you up? Like, what the heck? Like,
come
4
pick them
a.m.
up. Are they in Arizona or something?
No, this was on the way, like, to the Philadelphia airport. Like, they were leaving on their trip this morning.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. And like she was like, no, there's like no way you'll be able to get here. Like the traffic is backed up like for miles and miles. Like, and it just they were okay. Like they're okay. They still went on their trip. They still made it to the airport. Like the tow truck driver for the Uber like took them to the airport. But they're okay. They said that the back windshield smashed and glass like went flying towards them and stuff, and they like their seatbelts kept them in, but they hit their heads on the back headrest.
Tell them that head hurts, that neck hurts.
I told them you might feel okay now, but when you get to Arizona, like please go to an urgent care. I like looked up an urgent care, like there's one 5 minutes from their hotel.
What are you gonna do about this Uber?
I don't know. Well, the whole thing was weird. Okay.
Chronic neck pain Uber.
Man, I don't. That's going to be another time. But thankfully they're okay. I still want them to get checked out when they get to Arizona. I know it'll be like hours from then, but then it's like 4 a.m. and once you get a call like that, like I couldn't go back to sleep. I was like, text me when you get to the airport. Text me when you're on the plane. Like, and she did all that, and she is on the plane right now. Hopefully they got their bad luck transportation behind them, because I didn't feel good about them flying with you hear all these things about planes recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is always the next day. So I literally look, my mom gave me a whole itinerary of every single thing about their trip, at like what hotel they're staying at.
Are they those
like
parents
everything.
too?
My mom is, yeah.
Yeah, Melissa's parents are that way.
I literally could not imagine having an itinerary of what you're doing each day.
I infamously maybe, when we got married the first time, back when we were super young, we planned to go on a honeymoon trip. My father-in-law, being the lieutenant colonel that he is, requested an itinerary, a turn-by-turn stop of where we were going in case we got murdered. He could track us down.
Listen, I get giving emergency contacts what hotel you're staying at, or flight numbers. I get that. That I feel like is normal. An itinerary of like where you're going each day, I don't think I would have that planned out before a trip. I would have an idea of the things I want to do, but I would not have it all planned out to a T.
I gave him an itinerary of a vacation we weren't even on. I totally did. Just fake instructions everywhere. He started seeing pictures come around. He's like, what do you, I thought they were at the beach. He was like, why did you do that? They could have been serious. I was like, yeah, I'm never going to do that. So you need to let this go right now. This is not how it's I would say it's been a source of friction, like in our relationship. Like we vacation very, very like polar opposites. They plan activities. They have a daily schedule. They wake up early. They're on the go. They're on the move. Like they're doing stuff.
That's my parents.
I sleep in. I lazily roll into lunch like it's breakfast. I decide what to do in the moment. Like if I feel like it at that time, maybe we will go do an activity.
I think I'm somewhere in the middle of that. Yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle where I will have an idea of okay, here's XYZ things that I would like to do on this trip. And then when I get there, it's like, today would be a great day to do this. And then I just go do it. but I
They're like,
thankfully
you just gonna sit here the whole time? I'm like, yeah,
I'm on
like,
vacation.
that's that's kind of the point. You guys are working, man.
Well, in this case, I was very glad to have their itinerary because I was able to see, okay, their flight arrives at 9 a.m. local time. Here's where their hotel is. They don't have anything scheduled for the whole first day.
Scheduled.
So I'm like, okay, great. So I looked up the urgent cares near their hospital. There's one 5 minutes from their hotel. There's one 5 minutes from their hotel. I texted my mom the address. I'm like, I'm adding this to your itinerary. You're gonna go here on the day that you get here.
Pull out your Palm Pilot.
Out.
Let me get this on your calendar.
Like, I think that's important. If you're in a multi-car accident on the interstate,
I'm not making light of that.
You might feel okay, but like, you need to get your head checked.
You need to find something so you can get paid by Uber. I'm still on this. Don't let Uber off the hook with this thing. I wonder how that works. Well, I feel like for Uber to exist, they've probably it's got to be in the fine print or something that like you have to like sue the driver and not them or something.
They probably at the very least get the trip free, right?
Right, because like Uber probably doesn't work otherwise. You think every day there's Ubers all over across the country. They'll probably get multiple wrecks a day. Like they keep getting lawsued. Uber probably doesn't work.
Yeah.
So,
and for accident, it's debatable whether this was this guy's fault or not. I don't know. She says that he swerved away from it and then slowed down. And then the guy hit him from behind, and I don't know. That's debatable. I wasn't there. But anyway, my adrenaline was not wearing off to go back to sleep. I do think their adrenaline, they probably were feeling like that, the hype of it. You don't feel that pain right away.
Sure.
They're going to feel it later. I couldn't go back to sleep. Me and Josh were up half the night. He just went to sleep. So I hopefully have used all of my bad vibes for a while. I wish I had the Switch 2. I don't. I want it in my hands. Some good news is I got my personal day on June 5th approved. So
nice.
We'll both have that going for me. Yeah.
We could record if you want.
We can record.
We don't have to.
Yeah.
Because I'll be in Hyrule anyway, but we can. I'm off that Thursday, Friday, I think Monday, Tuesday.
Ooh, that's nice.
I took an extended weekend.
I could not take Friday off. It's actually amazing how it worked out because we can't take off within the last
that week. Like it's going to be a busy, like I may not make the podcast that week. It's going to be a busy time.
Yeah.
So it's timely that like right after I can take some time off.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good chunk of time.
That's why I'm taking more than one day.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like I'm going to need it.
Mm-hmm.
My social batteries are going to be on 0.
Good. Yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me what you've been up to and what you've been playing. Hopefully it was better than my past couple days.
No car wrecks.
No car wrecks, thank God.
Knock on wood.
And like I had offered to take them to the airport. Like I wonder if either like it makes you wonder about like things like fate and like circumstances and timeliness and things. Like if I had taken them to the airport, would that have been me getting in the car accident? Like
would you have been
would my car have been wrecked? Would I have avoided it? Would like the couple minutes difference, made it? It probably would have made a difference, right?
Could have. That's a butterfly effect.
Makes you think.
You never know.
But that is not a call you want to receive at 4 a.m. Is Rebecca? We were in a multi-car accident on the interstate.
Yeah, I know. I could I got that call when my dad died. It was like 3 a.m. in the morning, and like. When you get a call that you feel when you wake up out of that slumber, you're like, what happened? Before you answer the phone, like, there's that feeling,
like, why? Nothing can be right.
Like, it's like, this is not going to go well.
Yeah.
So, that's a scary time. Let's see here. As I sit down.
Oh, I can see your desk going down. You have that adjustable desk. Josh,
I can only stand for so long. I have to stand more for my back, but I can only stand for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually just go back and forth and rotating back and forth. Yeah, what am I playing? So last night I was on my Mario 64 run. I hadn't played it kind of like all week, maybe a little over a week. And I was like, I got to get back on the wagon. And I stopped because I was playing this damn level that was really kicking my ass.
What?
And I was like, I got to get the star. I was getting so frustrated. I put it down and like didn't come back. Like it was just like, I don't know, like, you know, like you just get annoyed and you're like, never mind, out of mind, out of sight. So last night I started to play again. I got my star. I kept playing. I was attempting star 80.
Okay.
So
You're going for all the stars,
technically-
right? You're trying to
I
get
don't
everything?
know. Like, I don't know if I'm actually going for all of them because I've looked into some of them. Some of them are just like collecting coins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to do that. Like, what I generally want to do is I want to beat all the levels.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd like to get, you know, like every level has like a 100 coin star. I don't want to do that. Like, that just feels like busy work, right?
Yeah.
But like the actual levels with goals, I want to beat all of those. And I don't know how many stars that equates to. But that's basically what I'm doing. So I got the star. I beat the frustrating level. I was on a run. Like, was actually feeling pretty good.
Good. Yeah.
Wife and daughter were at her show. My daughter's final performance, her play, is going on this week. So they were gone. Jack was in his room.
Ow.
It was storming, so like you couldn't do anything else.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
The storm
to
just
be
missed us.
playing. So we're sitting there, or I'm sitting there playing Mario, like literally about to get the star 80. Like I see it, like it just popped
Out of the dock and keep
That's
going.
correct. This is one of the more complicated stars to get as well. It's one of those levels. It takes like 4 or 5 minutes. You got to do multiple things to make the star appear. So I was frustrated. But then, yeah, last night we sat in the dark for like 4 hours. We were without power. So I just pulled out the Switch. I haven't really been playing the Switch a whole lot. In recent weeks, in between playing sessions, I have started playing a little Retro Bowl, play a little Mario Golf. I started the story over because I think my save is on my No More Heroes Switch, which I haven't turned on in years. So like I was like, I'm just gonna like I was just playing golf just to play golf, and I was like, well, if I'm just gonna play just to play, I might as well play the story mode. So I started the story mode again. And I started playing another game I've been playing off and on for a few weeks now is Warriors Abyss. Do you remember and know anything about that game?
It's like a warrior, one of the Warriors games. Like
it's a Muso game, yeah. It's a Dynasty
Warrior,
Warriors game, but it's like a Vampire Survivors like free to play. It's not free to play. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. It's $20, but it's like one of those rogue, like die, collect all your rewards, get stronger, go back and try to run it again, sort of type games. So you just keep doing that loop over and over again.
Okay.
$20 Dynasty Warriors game. It is fun. It's like a mobile game. Like it is a mobile. I think they put it on mobile. It is a mobile game. But it is like endless Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah.
So for $20, if you just want to like hack and slash, you know, some Muso, like it's a pretty good fit. The story is just told like there's voice acting, but it's just like in text scenes where like the character pops up and text runs, and there's a lot of it. So I'm not paying attention to it.
Is it based on another IP like some of the Warriors are? Or is it like its own thing?
No, it is just Dynasty Warriors. Like there's tons of returning characters.
It's Dynasty
That's kind of
Warriors
the thing. Yeah.
IP.
All the Dynasty Warriors are here. Like there's too many characters. I don't know. That's the thing. If you're one of those people that play any sort of game like this, Diablo, hack and slash, Muso, anything like this, where you like really get in to like the maximizing like stats and all the special attacks and energies and collections and all that, like then you'll love this game because it's like endless that. I don't care. Like,
I don't care about any of that.
So I just keep pressing play. So I'm sure that I'm not progressing at the rate that I'm supposed to be because I don't have the brain energy to do this anymore. Like, especially like if there's one system, I'll pay attention to one. But when you were like, here's 7 systems you have, I'm like, never mind. That's too much.
Yeah.
Like it's too much.
Overly complex for like the sake of just being complex.
Yeah.
I feel
Luckily,
like in a lot of cases.
There's like this person that I guess is like guiding you or something in the story. She's like the priestess of hell or something, and she got attacked, and you have to help her. I don't know, seek revenge. When you go to this tree to like select your companions and your faction and whatever, there is like a use her recommendation button, and I'm just doing that. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Just give me whatever you think I need. Because here's the thing. there's so many different characters and so many different kind of energies. Like it kind of feels like none of it really matters because there's just like I'm sure it does, but to me it's like I can't possibly be expected to understand the difference between all of this different currency and these different icons and these different symbols and whatnot. So I'm just give me your recommended setting, your recommended hero. I don't know. I'm not particularly attached to any of these people, so who cares? I just keep playing, the hack and slash game. And the hack and slash game is good. It's simple. There's a fast attack. There's a strong attack. You have a special attack that you charge when you fill up your Muso meter. And then the enemies are really strong. So like there's enemies obviously there's just like mindless enemies that kind of surround you. But then there's like archers and spellcasters or like big brutes. And some of these people have attacks that like set up like a line that go all the way across the map. So you are constantly having to be on the move and kind of watch what's going on around you. It does have that Vampire Survivors kind of.
Can you play as those type of characters too?
No, I haven't seen
They're
anything
just
like
enemies.
that. Yeah. There are people that have range attacks, but they still work like even if you had a sword attack, like you're still hitting the same buttons. It's just I guess you can stand a little bit further away than the other ones, but it's not like the enemies. It's not like the enemies.
Got it.
Now you do have these super powerful special attacks, and after you go through a couple levels of hell, you reach like a boss, and then you fight the boss, and the boss will like I did beat the boss, but like it took me a couple tries. Like he's actually hard. So I think you do have to kind of pay attention to what you're doing before you get to the boss, but I'm just not. I'm just like brute strengthening because it's like I'm never going to beat this game. It's kind of
you're going to.
It's no, I'm never going to beat this game. So there's like no point in really caring all that much. It's like I'm having a good time.
Okay.
It was on sale. I think it was $25. It was on sale for like $17, and I had like $9 left over. So I was like, I'll finally jump into it. Because I really wanted to play that Dynasty Warriors game that came out this year on PlayStation 5. I hope that gets ported to Switch too. I played the demo on Steam, and it was all right. But luckily for us, we have Hyrule Warriors to look forward to.
We do.
Which is what I really care about.
And that's not my favorite type of game. Like, I'm not into that genre a whole lot of the hack and slash and the mindless just kind of, swiping at people. But I do like the lore, and I like, obviously all the Zelda characters. So
we should like the next
I will
one,
enjoy
the
it.
next one's lore should count.
Yeah, well, that's what they say.
Well, I'm going to believe them this time because they're going out of their way to make it seem like it does. So the lore should count. And
I hope that you can play as Link at all. I hope that you can only play.
Me too. Well, I hope they let you play as the ancient hero. I hope they go back into like real.
Well, that's what I mean, because if they're trying to make this canon, then there's no way you should be able to play as Link.
Correct.
Because he's not there.
Yeah, but it's time travel. They can always make it happen. They had this stupid little egg thing that we did. They can make it happen. But I hope we get to play as the ancient hero, and we get to I'm down to play with Rauru and stuff. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I understand that a lot of people, especially Zelda fans, don't like this genre of game. I do, but even that notwithstanding, I really like that the Zelda series has a go-to spin-off game that we're not waiting 5 and 6, 7 years between games.
Yep, I agree.
Like that. Like I think
that's why.
we should all be happy that happened.
Yes, it's not my favorite spinoff. It's not my favorite genre, whatever. But I feel thankful that my favorite series has stuff like this to keep me going. To keep it going.
We're not just like waiting forever for any new content at all. Yeah. Also, personally, I still love the original Hyrule Warriors the most. I wish we could get back to that. I actually wish we could get back to the best part about that. Not only was it a celebration of Zelda, but the best part about that it was completely
on its own.
Yeah, it was standalone. It had its own original characters.
You could introduce new characters.
Universe.
Like Lana,
you could be you could be very playful with the Zelda IP, and I feel like Calamity lost that, and it felt more like a mainline game, which I think to me made it feel more like a grind. Yeah, because there wasn't so much variety and difference.
Plus, you kind of already know what's going to happen.
Correct.
Because it's a prequel, and the world and the characters, and you know what to expect.
Hyrule Warriors was so anime. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I really just want a Hyrule Warriors 2. It's like I love what you guys are doing,
replay
but
that.
let's go back to Volga and shit. Like, where did they go? These guys were cool.
Is it worth, like, if I'm gonna replay, you're gonna tell me to replay it on the Switch, the Switch Deluxe Edition.
Calamity?
No, the Hyrule Warriors.
Yes, I am. If you don't feel
free,
which is fun, but
because that I think has a lot of the content that all
of the content from both games is in the Switch version.
Yeah.
So you can play as Linkle and everything, and all the levels and everything they brought to 3DS. You can do all of that on Switch.
But at a price.
I went through it all last year. I went through Hyrule Warriors again. I've beaten that game a few times. It's super fun. I just like the audacity of it. It's almost like I can't believe they allowed them to do this. The girl's just running around with like her tits out. Like she's like super cleavage, It's like, what is this game?
That was weird for Nintendo at the time.
Right. Like it really stands
like
off.
It was a very sexual character at the time.
Yeah. I loved it. It was like not quite like something like Suda would have done, but it felt like almost like hints of something like that in there.
Sorry to turn your Warriors Abyss conversation into Zelda.
It's what we do. It's the Nintendo show. I don't think anybody cares about a Warriors Abyss anyway. It's very fun. I'm glad I spent $9 on it, but I wouldn't go out of my way to recommend it to anybody. I'd much rather you guys play Hyrule Warriors anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my game time this week in between podcasts, and my wife broke her toes.
What?
My wife broke her toes. I had to go to the hospital. I also have had a long week. Yeah. So
does she need to wear like a foot cast and stuff?
She does. I almost thought I'm not going to tell this whole story, and it's not even all that entertaining, but I almost thought I caught a homegrown terrorist on Friday.
What?
Yeah, like I had this. We've been put on alert. Yeah, we've been put on alert at work of a certain group of individuals trying to like infiltrate like certain trainings and stuff. And I had a person show up at our office, and I was the only person at the office wanting to disconnect phone lines to the National Emergency Alert System. And I was like, yeah, we're not going to do that. And turns out it's legit. He works at AT&T, and he did have orders to disconnect it.
Wow.
But also turns out nobody at the state or the feds had known that they were out here trying to disconnect lines. So when I alerted them, all hell broke loose. And,
wow.
My Friday. Yeah, I ended up taking pictures. I was like, I need to see your ID. He was like, what? I was like, I need to see your ID. And I was like, I took pictures of his ID and him. And he was like, why? I was like, we're going to know exactly who you are by the time you walk out of this building. Like, you can't just come here and do this.
Oh my God. And it's just this innocent guy.
Stuff. They've been in the office maybe a year, 3 years. I've been in the office 17 years.
It's better. So
I know this phone. There's like a special phone. It has a special line. And anybody doesn't know, it's like a bat phone. I pick it up. I press a button and I instantly can talk to the governor's office. Like it's a special phone.
Yeah. And
I know all about it because when I started in the business back in 2007, that's actually what I used to do. I used to work for the state and I used to man these phones. Mm-hmm. So the funny part that I was telling is when I talked to the person at the state, they've known me this whole time. They were there when I worked there. So I was like, had I not been here today and any of our other staff been here, I think they would have been like, yeah, let me take you right to it. They would have walked right in. They would have cut the line and walked right out.
Which
and probably not even
would not have been nothing bad would have happened. But like, it's better to overreact in an innocent situation that you think is bad than, to not underreact in an actual like legit emergency situation. That's good practice.
When I told him why the phone was important, and everything, he was like, oh, that's what that does? He was like, yeah, that's what that does.
Oh my God.
And he has order. So I'll give you the context for anybody that wants to close the loop. Essentially, there is an executive at the company. I think I already said AT&T, but don't let's not publicize that. That apparently made the company a bunch of money by like shutting down like old unused lines. And I think these lines somehow got mixed up in those because the activity on these lines are very low because we only use them in case of like real emergencies, not like your daily emergency, like real statewide emergencies. The only time we use these phones. So a year may go by and we never touch this phone. Because we all know it's not meant for that. It's meant for the big one. And yeah, so apparently they thought, oh, we'll just save a bunch of money. We'll just go shut off all these lines. Oh, it was very funny. So I at least fill you in that I've had a week myself.
It sounds
really.
like it, but
Yeah.
Melissa's okay. Like, how did she break
She's
her
fine.
foot?
She fell down the stairs.
Are you pushing
Okay.
her down the stairs again?
Wow. Don't do that. I was sitting here playing 64. It was a couple days ago. I was sitting here playing 64, and I hear this crash at the stairs and this
Oh,
groan.
God.
She's just like,
Oh, man.
and I go and open the door, and I told her she looked like a Koopa because she was on her back, and her head and her hands were in the air. And I was like, what the hell happened? And she goes, I fell. She goes, there's water here. It's slippery. So I help her get up and everything. I'm looking, there's no water. I was like, there's no water to be found. What are you talking about? She just fell. Listen, she's clumsy. She's clumsy. She has a history of this. Sometimes she just falls. I don't know.
I believe it was the water.
The equilibrium is not like strong in this
It
one.
was the water.
She just falls. And yeah, apparently when she fell, so apparently she's coming down the stairs, she turns the corner, and apparently her feet come out from underneath her like a banana peel. And her feet smash into the wall as she falls and like flips upside down. Her feet hit the wall and it broke her toes.
Ouch. That sounds painful.
Toes. So we had to take her to the doctor and then get shots and get the thing and wait all day and yeah, do all of that. And then I walked in.
Broken toes is no joke either. Like,
and the sad part is there's not a lot they can do for it.
yeah.
You know, they're like, you just gotta let it.
It's not like you can cast it up like an arm.
Yeah,
or something.
they're like, you just gotta not bend it.
Put pressure on it. Yeah.
I was like, so why are we here all day? Why do we come here all day for this? I could have done this at home.
You know.
I'm trying to bring it back down. Yep. There we go. So yeah. Anyway,
I got she's using Lyft now when she gets to the place.
she's done switch providers.
I told her to use Lyft
Brand
to begin
loyalty.
with because I got the notification.
You done fucked up, Uber.
Of her. You
done
know,
got Mama Minish
her
on the lift.
Cherise is her driver.
Godspeed.
So Cherise better not get into an accident because
I've always wondered, like, how does that work? Your Uber gets into an accident. What do? You get out and like call another Uber? Does somebody like
another Uber wouldn't have gotten there with the traffic backup?
Yeah, I know, but it's just like I just generally wonder, like, what are the procedures?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's the go-to?
I'll have to ask her what she did.
Like, what if you're actually hurt? Then what?
Yeah.
Whose insurance? Like, I have so many questions. Like, I need to go to a Reddit and be like, all right, I was in a wreck. Here's how it works.
There's probably like an FAQ or something on the Uber website.
I'm sure.
I'll let you know what she did. But so now I'm like watching, like, you know, that she's getting everywhere. I'm like her mom. Like, I'm watching, making sure.
Do you guys have the tracker? Melissa and Victoria track each other.
Yeah. That's. I'm not gonna show it, but
Victoria's pretty
sent me a link of her.
That. Like, if Melissa and I try to escape to like a taco place or a Starbucks.
Oh, like Find My iPhone.
Quick, Victoria will call. Why are you there? Are you bringing me something back? I'm like, what the hell?
That
is this?
Bad. That is bad.
It's not a shakedown. Don't worry about where the hell we are.
I shared mine with my parents with the my dad wouldn't even know how to look at it, but with the explicit agreement that we will not check up on each other, you know, that it's only for like emergency or like, you know, seeing how far away, if I already know you're coming, or, you know, things like that. So yeah, last night I pulled up her Find My iPhone and she is in fact on the side of the interstate.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway,
all right.
Hopefully Melissa rests up. Hopefully my parents make it to their hotel and go to urgent care.
She's fine. She was more concerned about getting the doctor to give her a note for an open-toed shoe because she's a paralegal and in her law office there's this really old, crusty dude, and they have a very strict dress policy.
No open-toed shoes?
And an open-toed
at an
shoe
office
is not allowed. I think all the women have to be in heels.
That's horrible.
I think that's correct.
That's horrible.
Like he's pretty bad. He's like extremely cheap. It's like he's still living in like 1950. Like, he doesn't get it. He's like, I'm paying him $40,000 a year. What are they bitching about? It's like, that's not a lot of money, sir.
That's what she makes?
No. That's what she started. and and they fought her tooth and nail, and like when I tell you like smidge raise since.
Wow.
Like she has to fight really hard for like a $2,000 raise. Like they're like, that's a lot of money. It's like it's actually not a lot of money at all.
For what she probably does, it's probably not enough.
No. But yeah, she's fine. She got a sandal that she can put that foot in, and yeah.
How much you want to bet that my mom tells her new Uber or Lyft driver their Uber story?
The whole story.
Please
100%.
don't get in an accident because here's what happened
the
to
last
us.
time. Yeah, 100%.
This poor driver is gonna be like, "Oh my god."
I'm about to wreck just to get you out of this car.
All right, hit us with the news. We got to talk about Nintendo.
Yeah, we do. It's a kind of a big one. We have a lot to talk about, actually.
That's okay. I have all day.
So the first one, the big one, Firmware 20.0.0 is out now. We talked about this last week. I was like, hey, this should be coming out soon. Nintendo said by the end of the month, and they got it in there right at the end. Virtual game cards have arrived to the Nintendo Switch family of systems. The virtual game card allows a single user to manage library across two systems through system linking and share virtual game cards to family members over local wireless for a 14-day period. It is no longer to possibly play the same digital game across two systems at the same time that you could have done before this update came out in a very specific scenario that I don't want to even begin to explain because it's all about primary versus
and now you can't even do it anymore, so it don't even matter.
You can't do it anymore. It doesn't matter. That is so. I'll just stop here. I don't want to. After our Switch reaction with Sean, I like committed myself. I don't want to bury the lead anymore. So the lead on this, I think, the reaction has been Nintendo has closed this functionality and people are mad. I'm kind of calling. I want to call BS, and that might just be my own bias. Because we've been doing this podcast a long time, of Discord a long time for a lot of people. I don't know a whole lot of people that were doing this. I'm not saying that it wasn't happening. Clearly it was, but like I don't think it was very common. It's actually somewhat hard to even figure out how to do.
Does that mean that people had one digital copy of like Mario Kart 8 and they were both playing together on their individual systems?
Yep. But to do it, you had a primary and a secondary, and then you had the user profiles, and you essentially had to like switch each other's primary but play on your own profiles. I don't think that's very common that people were actually doing that. I think you've got to be like in the most hardcore of hardcore to even figure out how to do it. Because I've had a lot of people, I've had to explain to people how game share on Switch works for years.
Yeah.
And I've even told people, even Jack and I, we've been doing the whole, if we want to play the same game, like Breath of the Wild, like Jack, you start it, you go into airplane mode, and then I'll start it, and then I'll play, you know? So even me trying to explain it for years, I never had anybody like tell me that they were doing this. Again, small sample size, it's just my bubble. But I don't know. I felt like the anger over this, I think, was just feeding more to people's I'm angry about the Switch 2 in general. So let's run with this too. I think, I don't know. Maybe I'm lessening somebody's experience. I don't want to.
I don't know. That's for the handful of people that used it, maybe it sounds like it. I mean, that probably sucks.
Yeah. On the podcast where people are like, this is how I played like with my partner or my girlfriend. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. That kind of sucks for you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
it's kind of like giving like you share a Netflix password kind of thing. Yes. Like, you know, that we both want to watch our separate shows or, you know, whatever at the same time, whatever. But no, my whole thing when this update came out was the confusion and misinformation of people that I think are usually pretty informed people about Nintendo and video games. And
hell, even I'm confused about half of this.
Tearing my group chat apart, saying, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. I'm right. This is how it is. Can't you read? It's right there. Can't you read? This is what this means. You know,
yeah, you shared some of that with me, and I was like, hey, I'm right. I don't know who the people you're talking to, but I know I'm right over here.
The person who was wrong ended up apologizing and saying I was wrong. But
ripping
you know,
families
I think
apart, Nintendo.
That's pretty bad when you've got people who are pretty into this and informed, and even they're not sure. Like, I can't imagine the people who like do this casually. Like, I don't know. The whole virtual game card thing for me with like the sharing game, like lending games, is useless for me because, and I if you didn't see me say this in the Discord, like I have a family plan with people that I know online who I've never met, who live all over the country, and I will never meet them. And Josh is in his own separate family account, so because we're not in the same family account or whatever, same family, whatever it's called, family plan, even though we're in person together, we can't take advantage of any of this. But I mean, it's not going to change. Like, it just seems like it's an overly like specific thing that like I just feel a little bit mad that I can't take advantage of. But it's not going to change anything for me. I was hopefully planning on having him buy Pokemon Legends ZA, and I would mooch off of that.
I think you can. I don't want to give you too much hope, so hang on. Before I read the rest of the news, I want to tackle like your scenario since you brought it up. Have you tried to do anything with it at all yet?
With the lending games?
With the firmware and everything, with the updates. Have
you and Josh sat down
and tried to do anything together?
No.
All right. Because you actually might be able to help me. Because I did. As soon as I got the update, I updated both my Switches. And even, I'm not going to lie to you, even me on my own Switches, for a moment, was confused. I was like, wait, what?
You have to go and make it more complicated than it needs to be.
It is a little bit. I'll give you that. It's somewhat complicated. It's messy. But I will tell you, I like it a lot. Now, I think there's different uses for this virtual game sharing. There's an individual use and there's a family use, and they're different. So my individual use, I love.
Okay.
I don't know how that works for the families. All right. I read on Reddit, and I have no idea if this is confirmed. So this is the first thing that I would ask you to maybe try.
Okay.
I read on Reddit that if you have two systems that have if you have a system that has members of two different family plans, so like if you're a member of one family and Josh is a member of a different family, you both can't be on the same system. I heard that, and I was like, I don't know if that's true. I couldn't test it. I don't know. But I read that there's something about they don't want to have people have like 4 members of 4 and 5 different family plans on one Switch. So they've limited how many profiles from a family plan you can have. I read that.
That would be really stupid, because what if like we want to play Mario Kart locally on my Switch, split screen on the TV kind of thing, and he hops on and wants to join on his profile, like he wouldn't be able to do that.
That's why I'm not running with it. So that'd be step 1. I would see if you can verify that.
I'll do that.
Here's the important part though. Here's step 2. Do this. So I've got 2 Switches. I've got my Zelda Switch and I've got my OLED that I call the family system. When I go into the virtual game card application, I have the ability to tie those 2 systems together, to link them together. You can only do 2. So you can't have 5, 6 different Switches. But if you only have 2, you can connect these 2 Switches together, and you can load and unload games between those 2 systems as much as you want and not have to have an internet check to play them. So what I would tell you is to get Josh to connect your Switch to his profile. So him put his profile on your Switch, connect your virtual game cards together, and I think you can send each other games. Here's the thing.
Oh, because it's on his profile.
And here's the thing. With the system link, you don't even have to be local wireless. You can do it. I can do it from my browser, which is like the craziest thing. I literally go to my browser and go, add this game to that system. And as long as
you can do it on the browser? You don't have to have the other Switch.
There's a website. There's a portal you can go to, and you can see all of your games, and I can see which ones are loaded on which system. It's kind of cool. But that only works. So that's what I would call the individual use of this. There's like if you are managing your library across multiple systems, this update is kind of awesome. Because for a lot of reasons. Remember, I've told you, I think all year long when we talk about updating the eShop and everything, one of the things I always bring up is I hate whenever I do a system transfer or move to a Switch, trying to re-download games. right? Like you have to go to the eShop, go to your download. They're alphabetical. You got to go through this long list. I have 600 digital. I'm like, this is nonsense.
Yeah.
With this thing, I literally went to the portal and I go, I want to play this
It's on
game.
The Nintendo.
Yeah, I can put a link in the chat if you want, because I saved it. I bookmarked it.
Sure, yeah.
Look at that, it'll tell you. It's called Portals-VGCs. Here you go. I'm going to put it in the chat. If anybody didn't know, I added it in the Discord. There you go. You can sign in with your account. And so what they've done is they've essentially taken, like other systems has this, like Xbox, PlayStation, they have this. You can go in, you can see all of your games. They're usually like in a list, just a list. And like you can, like, I want to download this game, and you download the game, it'll ask you like which console do you download it to. What Nintendo have done is the same thing, but they've made it feel more like it is exactly what they've called it, virtual game card. Like they've tried to make it feel and look and operate like your actual game library. So you can actually, like, I can click into a game right here. I can say load on system. Actually, you know what? I'm going to share it. There's nothing. Let me share it.
Why are some of the icons like a small rectangle instead of the square?
Hang on, I'm just going to share. Here we go. You see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, so this is my library. So in this library, I can filter. I can say, show me everything loaded on the family system. Show me everything loaded on my system. Show me games that aren't loaded on any system. And Rebecca, if I take one of these
how do you name your system? How do you name your system?
It's in the on your Switch in the system tab. You can name your system. You can give it a name. So you just go on your Switch. You go to the bottom system, and there's a name. You just name it. So
wait, show me how you got to that.
Where?
The filter. You click your little filter.
This little filter
I don't have my switches
because you haven't linked your systems together.
Oh.
I think you can do this, and this doesn't require a family plan at all. So this is NSO not related. This is unrelated to NSO completely. So I can pick a game. So I'm going to pick this game right here. What is this? I got Iron Fury. So I can pick this and I can say load to system. I can click this and I can pick which system I want to load to. If I click this and I hit load, if this game isn't on that system already, it'll automatically start a download for it. And if I pick up that system and try to play it, I don't have to check into the internet, which means if I grab that system and go to the airport, I don't need any check or anything to play it. Because here's how this works. I have all these notes, but essentially how this works is, I wrote it down.
This is the biggest reason to do all digital, in my opinion.
So yeah, like they've made it somewhat easier to do this part of it. That is true. So essentially, the way that I would explain to people, again, not the family share stuff aside. So we're not there yet. We're still talking about an individual use of this new firmware update, virtual game cards. The way that I would explain the system to somebody, and even this is not a great explanation, is a week ago, the way this worked is you had a primary system and a secondary system. And if you grab that secondary system, you could play any games on that profile as long as you could check into the internet. Essentially what Nintendo has done is gotten rid of the primary secondary as a console. And they've essentially allowed you to pick a primary or a secondary console per game. Mm-hmm. So like every one of these games, I can say, I want this to be primary on this system, and I want this game to be primary on that system. And I can play those games across two different systems without internet. And that is awesome. Like, that is a good thing. I'm sorry that it came at the cost of the people that were double dipping on the same game, but like, this is great. Like,
so then let's say you load it onto your Switch, your Zelda Switch, then you can't. Does that mean you can't play on your OLED until
that was the confusing part? The confusing part was I did it, and then on my primary system, I went to launch that game, and it was like, you have to load this card. And I was like, so did it lock me out of a game I already have? And kind of. Now, if you're the primary owner, you can always pull it back. However, there's an asterisk. What I did was I was testing. I put a game on the family system, and then I put that family system in airplane mode, and I tried to pull the game back and couldn't. Because it couldn't check. So it does need internet. But as long as you have internet, you don't need to be together. So like Josh could be in North Carolina and you could be here and you could go on here.
Oh, no, he moved. He's up here now.
Okay, well, you could be at Subway and he could be at wherever. You could actually log into a browser and click a game into your system and keep it moving as long as
Ooh.
both systems can reach the internet at some point.
So if that first question you had is not true, that we can't both be on the same profile, if I put Josh on my Switch, his Nintendo account on my Switch,
Correct.
and he puts his Legends onto my Switch, his game card onto my Switch, then I can play it on my profile?
Yep, on your profile. Yes, I have tested this with Jack. But this, again, I want to be very clear with everybody. This only works via system link, and you are limited to 2 systems. So when I first saw this update, I was under the impression that maybe we could do this with like 3 or 4. Like my idea was the family, like you'd want to be local, you could link. No, you can only link 2 systems. I have 3. I have my No More Heroes Switch. I pull it up. You would download the update to your light. You would go into Virtual Game Car. You would try to connect to your systems, and it would tell you, hey, the system is already connected to 2 other systems. Do you want to get rid of one? And you have to then you'd have to pick one to get rid of, and then you would reconnect.
So how do I connect to my console? Because I see right here it says users Rebecca Game Systems Switch Lite. How do I?
You have to do it on the Switch.
Okay.
You have to grab the Switch. You and Josh will both need to grab both of your Switches together and link them together through the virtual game card icon. It takes like 2 seconds, but
yeah.
You had a question. What are these? Like the sideways?
I figured it out. It's DLC.
Yeah, it's DLC. So I wanted to show.
And my Japanese account,
and you can share DLC.
On that.
You can share DLC, and Rebecca, you can share upgrade packs.
Oh.
So if you and Josh are in this together and you link together, you can sizably cost share this, whereas I can't because I'm still an individual.
But we still can't play them at the same time.
You can't. Yeah, that is 2 different profiles cannot play the same game from the same library at the same time under no scenario. Like that's gone now. You just can't do it.
So it literally is the same thing as having a physical game.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's like the whole point. Now, Rebecca, I believe if you were to load a game and then put your system into offline mode and then Josh load that game, I think you could play the game at the same time. But obviously, if you're in offline mode, you could not play online together.
Right.
Right. But like if you wanted to play Breath of the Wild and he wanted to play Breath of the Wild, you could play Breath of the Wild just offline.
Right.
I think. So you can still play the same game, just not together, not simultaneously. So, which
I'll have to play around with this.
I know people are mad. I don't think that's all that much of. I don't think that's that big of a problem. I would take this.
It sounds like there's
that.
workarounds. Yeah.
Because so on my Switch 2, for example, when I get my Switch 2, I'm going to connect it. I'll probably go in here and pick the games I want to download to my Switch 2 and just do it from here. Mm-hmm. Because I can sort. I can sort by publisher. I can sort by date. I can downloads. I can do all of this stuff. So that's probably what I'll do. I liked this a lot. This I liked a lot. And I thought was like woefully undercovered by all the news that came out. Like nobody's really talking about the website or the ease of changing games across systems. Nobody really talked about it. They only focused on this old loophole that we had is no longer allowed, which I understand, but
now it sounds like there's new loopholes.
So yeah, so I like this update for that. Now I want to, again, we've talked about what it means for families because I got 2 points. If you're on a family plan, any of your game sharing has to be local. So if you're not next to each other, that kind of goes out the window because it seems like they're trying to make the family plan for families, actual families, and not just let everybody cost share. So there's that. Now everybody's mad about how you can't play games together. I think a very perhaps underutilized point in that is there's game share. It's not on yet because we don't have Switch 2s, but like game share is a thing. That's that other icon that came out with the update. And we don't know how many or what games are going to support game share, but on Switch 2, ideally, if you wanted to play a game together and you have one copy, ideally it'd be supported on game share. And you'd go to the game share icon and click it and then you'd play together. Like, I don't know if Mario Kart's going to let us do that. I doubt it.
Probably not.
Right.
Didn't they say like things like
Clubhouse?
Yeah, that was the only one I remember.
Yeah, there's a handful of games. I think one of the Mario games are going to let you do that. I think like Mario Bros.
Mario
or
Party.
something. Yeah, something's going to let you do that too.
Yeah.
And I think it is local multiplayer focused, like local co-op, local
Mm-hmm.
multiplayer games. But I feel like that's people like Nintendo's not let you share games anymore. It's like they literally added an
Jules'
icon
3D
called
World.
Game Share. Yeah, it's like, but I just feel like it's underreported. You know, people are like, you can't share games on Nintendo. It's like they have an icon called Game Share. You just can't use it yet. So just maybe wait before you get all angry.
Yeah.
I don't know. So there's some other cool stuff that came out in this update in addition to these things. Oh, hang on. Before we get I skipped over a part, and I do think it's important. There is a new online license option in the Switch settings. It's in your profile now. So it's not in the eShop. You got to go to your profile on the settings, and you can turn on the online licenses option. And what that does is allows you to check the internet for a license. So it's basically the old way. Like you could go in there and be like, do I have a license for this? I'm online. Yes, now you can play the game. So if you start getting into this, especially if you have more than 2 systems and you get confused and you don't like all this micromanagement and sending game cards back and forth, go into your profile, click online options, and it's just the way it used to be. You'll go to play a game. It will check the internet to see if you have a license. And then if you do and you have internet, it'll let you play it. This thing really seems focused on, or at least my take on it, is it seems really focused on giving you flexibility without the internet, which as a physical, person, like I appreciate. Like last night, for example, when I didn't have any power and I didn't have internet and I was able to pick up my Switch and start playing some games, like I appreciate that. And I kind of like when this update came down, that was the first thing, because you can load more than one virtual card on that system link. So on the family plan, you're limited to just one game at a time.
Oh.
If you link your systems together, you can go in there and go, I want these 10 games, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it'll load them all to your system, and you can play those 10 games without internet as much as you want.
Okay.
And I was like, that's great if you're hopping on a plane or a car
like
trip or something.
more individually focused, I think.
Yes.
The benefits.
So some other things that came out. Again, that internet check, pass enabled console thing. You can go do that in your profile if you hate all of this. The game share icon was added. So like we're getting our first taste of Switch 2 here. We can't use the game share icon yet, but it's there. Transferring save data. If you go into transfer your save data, it now lets you do it in batches of games as opposed to one game at a time.
Good.
Which is very nice. They've added a system transfer to Switch 2 via the cloud.
I like this because I know a lot of people had questions about transfer, like selling their Switch beforehand.
I have literally performed a system transfer in a GameStop.
Yeah.
I have walked in and be like, I want to transfer this, but will you let me transfer to the new one before yeah. And I've sat in the corner on the ground, plugged into a wall outlet. So now you can system transfer everything into the cloud, sell your Switch, get your Switch 2, download everything back.
You just have to be okay with not playing something for a couple days or a day or two. Yeah.
There's new icon changes. The news channel changed. The game share icon is there. The eShop has been changed to red.
Inside to the eShop.
Yeah, Donkey Kong and several other characters got either new poses or new looks. Donkey Kong actually looks like the Donkey Kong from Mario Kart World now, in terms of the profile icons. The eShop has new charts that are now sorted by revenue instead of copies sold, which should eliminate the eSlop stuff on the charts and letting people. Now, I do wonder. This is a good update, but I do wonder if this eventually, like over time, might bury some indies. Because if it's by revenue, then the most popular games are always going to be there. Like they're always
the $60 games will always be above your $15. It could sell twice as many copies.
Correct.
But
or it could be like a cheaper game might be more topical, more current, but it's just not making as much money as like the Fortnites of the world that just stay there all the time. Right. So I'm hoping that I haven't really I use DQ deals anyway. I don't use the eShop. So I don't really care. But like, I'm wondering if they're taking that into account. I think they are. It seems like all of these changes.
I don't know what was wrong with the 5-star system. Didn't the Wii U have that where you could like
I don't remember.
thumbs up a game or just
I
rate
think
it out of
so.
5 stars so you can search for revenue, but then also have like a search for a star rated system, like what's
I
been
just
the
want
most
them to
top
have.
rated this week. Or
Ideally, I would like them to have either some time constraints on those, and I think they do. And then also, I would like them to have like some featured, like some curated things too. Like give me like a feature, and I guess they're trying to do that with they've got like a picks for you type of thing they're trying to do now, where like we think you like these games. But I would like I don't know, I would like something more curated. I would love to go to a page and be like, here's what's hot right now, and not just here's who made the most money this week. But it's definitely an improvement. It's definitely an improvement. You can't just game the system by making your game a nickel and jumping to the top of the list. I also wondered, because the Switch has had a lot of really good sales, as we've documented for years, me buying all these cheap ass games. I do wonder if maybe putting less focus on charting based on sales do you think that'll limit the sales that we were getting? Right? Because like it was almost like encouraging developers to have sales to chart for visibility. And now if all that's gone out of the window, I wonder if we get less sales on Switch 2.
yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, how it works out. Let's see here. Oh, Rebecca, as of this update, anytime if you purchase an eShop game that was on your wish list, it will now automatically be removed.
Thank God. Like, what was the point? Did they say anything about gifting games to people on your friends list yet? Are we not there technology-wise yet?
Not yet. Version 20 did brick consoles. So there's already a patch. There's a version 20.0.0.1. And if your console was bricked, I did see a Redditor who did this, you have to put the Switch into maintenance mode, which if you didn't know how, apparently you have to hold both volume buttons and the power button down, and it'll launch a menu to where you can then check the internet to perform a new update.
Whoa.
So,
so it like soft bricked it.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you download the update, there's one Redditor who even tried the fix and the fix didn't work. And Nintendo told him he had to send their console in for repair.
Oh, I'd be pissed.
Yeah. So it's a free repair, but still.
Still, how annoying is that?
I've updated all 3 of mine and I have no problems. They were,
it's probably a very, very rare thing.
I think so. So, yeah, long story short, that's the update. And Nintendo really, this is what I've been saying since they announced this. You remember when they announced this? I was like, this is weird. Why are we getting all this? Like, they've really gone out of their way to make digital feel like this is like they're trying to give you all that you have with a physical cartridge in a digital space. And I say all like in air quotes because one of the things when I found out that you could only system link 2 systems, I was like, so then it's not really like a game cartridge then, because the whole point with a game cartridge, I could have 80 systems and I could give anybody that cartridge and they could play it. So Nintendo's not going that far, but they're trying to give you some similar experience with a virtual game that you have with a physical game. And I mean, we'll talk more about this, and I'm sure through launch, this is not going to go away with these game key cards, but like, I'm doubling down. Like, we're going to get a digital SKU. I think by the end of this generation,
I
Switch
agree.
is digital. Yeah.
I agree.
Like, they've just gone way out of their way to
it feels like the time. It feels like the time to do it.
Yeah.
With everything.
So that's the update. Hopefully I've explained a lot of that as best I could. Chat, sorry, I've been focused on it's I haven't seen.
A better explanation than what Nintendo has done. I feel like their explanations have not been hot.
No, it's like even I was confused. I was like, wait a minute, I loaded a game on a different system I own, but now I can't load it on the other. So I was like, that's ridiculous.
The fact that this portal website for the virtual game cards exists and like
it's buried.
They didn't tell us about that.
It's buried. It's buried in the Finder. You have to click the help. So when you go to the virtual game card thing and you open it up, there's a little help bubble, and you click the help bubble. There's like 4 or 5 pages of like help text.
Mm-hmm.
It's at the end of that via QR code. So you go to the end, like 5 pages deep, you see a QR code, you scan it, and then it takes you there. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
When I found it, like I was like all caps about it. I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. Like, this is all I've ever wanted. So
yeah, I think that'll be good for people, people like us. I think most
especially
people
if you
would
buy
probably,
multiple Switches,
if you have
multiple
more than
things.
one system. Yeah.
Even if you're a family, if you have like 2 systems, like that is the thing. Like, I mean, I really wish you could system link. I feel like 3 would be the better number. 2 feels a little limited because I feel like as a family, like I think about Sean. If Sean could have a Switch and then both of his kids have a Switch and he could do this across 3 Switches, that would be ideal. But it's clear
Yeah,
that
it
they're going
seems
to price those people into a family plan. They're going to make, no, you need the
yeah.
family plan. And it's like,
That
but
part,
why?
it does seem stupid. Like,
We're all in the same house. Like, it's almost beneficial to them buy the game key card. Because at least with the game key card, you could hand it to any 3 of those systems. You don't have to pay for the subscription. I don't know. It's to sell subscriptions. Like that's my only read on it. Is like, oh, they're not going to let me link more than 2 because they want to sell family
it's
plans.
just another instance of Nintendo making things more complicated than it needs to be.
I agree. That I agree with. Yeah. But outside of that thing, I like the update. And fortunately for me, I'm not trying to manage a family plan. I don't have a family of people doing this anymore. So for me, this has all just made things better. But for actual family plans, like I'm actually interested to hear from Sean or other people that have 4 or 5 Switches. I would like to hear how do they take this? Like, is the family plan, is the subscription worth it to you? You're like, man, I've been fighting this for so long. I'm happy to pay the subscription. Or are you like me? It's like, oh, I'll just get the physical cards then. I would love to hear, somebody weigh in on that. Cyberpunk had a dev diary as a YouTube video. They talked about how great it is going to be on Switch. They did say Switch 2 is the best place to play Cyberpunk on the go. People are running with that headline. The important part that I took away from that is that they announced that you can use the katanas via motion controls. You can play Cyberpunk with motion control Joy-Cons.
That sounds actually really fun.
So you can slice and dice your way through Cyberpunk.
Dude, Josh mentioned he might get this game on Switch.
Oh, I'm day one. Yeah, I pre-ordered.
Yeah.
That was the first game I pre-ordered. So gotta have it. And I will katana with motion control. Red Steel is back, baby.
Love it.
We have more game card news. More game cards came out this morning. I didn't put it down, but Star Wars Outlaws is a game key card. Ubisoft confirmed that this morning. And again, this is just the norm now. It seems like it'll be more notable when a game isn't a game key card than when it is going forward. But Night Dive Studios weighed in on the matter. Quote, seeing Nintendo do this, the move to game key cards, is a little disheartening. You would hope that a company that big that has such a storied history would take preservation a little more seriously. I think that Nintendo example is a step back. CEO of Night Dive Studios.
Nintendo has never been pro-preservation.
I agree. I think
that is not a word I would use to describe them.
Yeah, I think you're correct there.
That being said, like I feel like Nintendo would have been the last ones to do it.
The game key card thing has kind of gotten momentum this week. The last couple weeks since it was announced, I mean, you know more than anyone else, our listeners do. I've been kind of talking about this the whole time. Kind of feeling like nobody cares. Like everybody's taking this news in stride. It's very few people that are like raising a fuss. This week a fuss started to bubble. Like I'm starting to see it in other places. I saw CNET do a video on it. I saw a Reddit thread on it. I've seen people talking like Night Dive. I've seen people go in. I'm seeing quotes in articles and stuff. It seems like the game key card thing is starting to at least get some noise. I don't know if that's just people got to find something to talk about until this thing comes out. Like I am now wondering, are game key card sales like hindered? I don't know what that is, but like, do they just not sell as many copies because they're on game key cards?
I don't think so. I think there will always be the people that walk into stores and see the box there. Like, how many parents are going to be buying these not knowing the difference?
I think
how many regular people who aren't, who just want to play the game don't care.
I agree. No, I agree. I think it's just like, I would say us, the bubble. I do think the bubble will probably not buy these as much.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's probably maybe out there because it seems like a lot of people are starting to like Deku deals. They announced yesterday. I've been asking. I think I've replied to every tweet they've made for a week being like, please add a game key card filter to Deku deals. And they announced yesterday that they are doing that. So it should be the
Nintendo deal. Andrew,
nice,
working for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Good. So yeah, I was just telling them yesterday. I was like, I was actually talking to them about like how they could do it. I was like, would you add it like a format, like digital physical game key card, or would you just add it like a hide button, like hide game key cards from option? I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but I'm very happy they're going to do it because prospect of what a digital library might mean going to the future. Buying a game key card feels like the worst spend of your money. You're just not benefiting from it at all.
Not at all.
There's nothing you gain. The only thing you gain is that you could sell or trade in this digital copy of a game. That's the only thing you gain from it. But long term, that's just I don't.
Can you sell it once you put it on your account?
Yes, yeah. Like that's the thing with the game key card is it needs the cartridge. So you put the cartridge in, it downloads the digital title, and because you have the license, you can play it. So I could take that game key card to GameStop and trade it in for whatever they'll give me for it. I guess if you keep revolving your library, you can. But you're not saving any money by buying the game key card either. So it's not like it's cheaper. Like it's the worst. I
guess like the argument is that like retailers might put them on sale sometimes.
I guess especially if
like
they don't
independently of the digital shop.
Especially if they don't sell. That would be the only situation where I would buy one. Like if Street Fighter 5 on the eShop is $60, but I can get a digital key card for $20, like I'll probably just do that, right? But that'll probably be the only scenario where I would think about buying one. Like a day one purchase, I would buy digital over game key card 10 out of 10 times if it was a day one purchase. So some more news before we get some questions. Nintendo Switch Online members can play 2 Star Wars games at no cost up until May 6th. And you get 100 platinum points if you try it. So you got Star Wars Bounty Hunter and then Jedi Power Battles, which just came out. I did this. This is like one of the first trials I've ever done because I was kind of interested in Jedi Power Battles. I never played it. It's like an old GameCube game or something, I guess. And because I'm not that into Star Wars, I don't keep up with it. So I downloaded it and played the trial. Glad I did.
Did they always offer platinum points for trying it, or is that new?
I think they've done that before.
I don't remember that.
I think they've done it before. I think they've had a promotion where if you tried a trial, you get something. I don't know if it's 100.
Okay.
But I feel like they've done this before.
Sure.
But I tried Jedi Power Battles. Glad I tried it because I definitely don't want to buy it. And I got 100 platinum points to buy more stickers or something.
Cool.
You think they're going to let us that sticker profile thing? I keep going back to it. Like, could that be like the avenue for themes?
Yeah.
You go in there and
the leak. Wasn't there a leak that said that there's going to be themes? I thought there was a leak.
Last week there was an account that said themes were coming, but nobody knows the account and nobody knows the credibility. And apparently via the Reddit, the account, the Twitter account, just like posts random Switch rumors. So like sometimes it might get them right, but there's like 100 times it gets it wrong. So I don't know how much to read into that. But that was my thing with the whole icons. It was like, this would be a great place for you to like come in and buy a theme for a game, and maybe they could rotate them.
I'd throw 99 cents at 100.
I would pay real money for them, but like if they want to use platinum points for them, that's a good use for platinum points.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Steam point shop. It's cool.
Yeah.
Hashtag thanks Nintendo trends as Xbox raises prices across
Not
the
thanks
board.
Nintendo, it's thanks Nintendo.
Yeah, thanks Nintendo.
Thanks.
Yeah, Xbox raised everything. Literally everything. The games, controllers, the storage cards, the consoles. The console is more expensive than it's ever been.
One of the controllers cost $200.
What controller is that? The Elite? It's got to be
something. I don't know.
Yeah, they're trying to sell the 2 terabyte Xbox Series X for $700. That's nonsense. That's ridiculous. Like, I just laugh. Like, what are we even doing? Like, the game industry has lost its complete mind. Xbox can't sell consoles at $200.
This ain't Nintendo's fault. Well, I don't know why people are saying thanks Nintendo. They decided
they raised the price first. That's how it goes. Yeah, I'm with you. I know that. I think most smart people know that. But because Nintendo went first, that's how it goes, right? Sony raised to 70, so they took all the blame for 70. Nintendo raises to 80, they're going to take all the blame for anything 80. For like 2 years, Rebecca. Every time an $80 game is announced for the next 2 years, you're going to see somebody do some sort of Nintendo response. That's just how it is. Yeah. I think it's interesting. Like, Xbox is going to say it's the global supply chain and tariffs. But the tariffs, we don't know exactly what are in place to what to what level, and when they come down, like they're not going to lower the price. They're not. This is the Xbox price. Like this is it. And I don't know what they're thinking because they can't sell consoles now. It's like the last thing they do. It's almost like a reason for them to get out of consoles. Like, well, nobody's buying them, so it's like, yeah, nobody's buying them because you made them $700 and they suck. So, ugh. But yeah, hashtag thanks Nintendo. That was going around. Nintendo is suing Genki for a violation of trademark from the pre-reveal stunt that they did at CES. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Where
Genki was like, we've got a Switch 2 here. Yep. Everybody was like, what?
What was that, like September, October? Yeah. That was like a while ago.
They're like, we got to get to the Genki booth and get pictures. Yeah, Nintendo's going to sue the hell out of them for that. So kind of expected to see that.
Also, sorry, update. My mom and dad got to the hotel. She just got out of their lift, and I'm now urging them to consider going to urgent care during their downtime after they get all checked in and stuff.
Yep.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Okay, so Nintendo made a Nintendo Switch 2 magazine, an official Nintendo magazine for the Nintendo Switch 2 that came out in Japan. I hope we get one because I want to buy one and flip through it.
Yeah.
But it's in Japanese, and people have translated it, and there's an article in that magazine about the new mobile app, which confirms that will be they will have cloud sharing for all of your screenshots and clips.
It's going to be renamed, right? It's not going to be it's going to be no longer the Nintendo Switch Online app. I think it's going to be like Nintendo Accounts app or something, or Nintendo.
Oh, that I didn't. I think it's just the Switch Online app.
I thought they were renaming it.
I thought that they were naming it to the Switch Online app.
Well, what is it right now?
Now I have to go look.
It's the Nintendo Switch.
Mine just says Nintendo Switch.
I don't know.
I don't know. I remember. They did say they were renaming it. But
whatever. It looks good.
So I wrote down, this is the exact translation. It says, Switch Online app confirmed to be used for Switch Clips Media, and then I put in parentheses album. Because in the actual text, it says, anything that you save to the album will be available to app. So I'm wondering on Switch 2 if there's like a little icon or a little folder or something in your clips library, and any clips or anything that you add to that folder will then sync to your cloud app on your phone. I think it may be like a manual thing. Perhaps it could be a translation error, but it might be like a manual thing. Like you grab these 10 things, you put them in the folder, and then you open up your Switch Online app and you refresh and they show up.
Trying to find that image of the translation.
Which is cool. We talked about that with Breath of the Wild and all the stuff that they're doing with it, and we were excited that you could share screenshots. It looks like that'll be somewhat of a system-wide feature, and I think we're due for like. I don't want to get you excited, Rebecca, but last week I told you I think there's like a theme or there's more to the UI that they haven't talked about. Like there's got to be, or they're just gonna let us figure it out and find these little surprises like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there's going to be like a YouTube video or something where they're like, we've updated the app and now here's all the cool things you can do on Switch 2 you couldn't do on Switch 1. I feel like that announcement is still there before launch. But maybe I'm wrong. It just feels like there's a lot of little details that we're not really getting into. Like how game share works.
It is weird. I feel like there is a weird blind spot going into this.
Yeah, me too. And it's like, I think there's something. I
haven't been able to really put that into words or put a pin in that. I haven't been able to explain that.
I think there's something else. I feel like before reviewers go live with reviews, I'm wondering if there's a little video where it's we've updated the Switch app and here's all the cool stuff you can do, and we have these color themes, and we've got this is the new platinum points. I feel like there's something left out of the conversation for a reason. But I'm not sure if am I just hoping for that?
I just don't understand what that reason would be. Why?
I think it's just marketing. They just want to get it closer to launch and then come back with more marketing. Just get people.
But they're already selling out every copy that exists.
Yeah, you're right.
Is this something that they hold until after there's more stock?
It just seems like there's a lot of fine print. We're finding the browser for the game key cards and the game. It just seems like we're finding little details about all kinds of stuff. That they could maybe they just want us to find it. Maybe it's just more fun to find it. I don't know. Ubisoft Brazil hints that Rainbow Six Siege and Assassin's Creed Mirage are coming to Switch 2. And when I say hint, that they did is they put out a poll asking people like what kind of games do they want, and they had a graphic. And on that graphic, they had like 6 or 7 games. And all of the games on that graphic that are there are on Switch 2, announced for Switch 2, except for these 2 games. There's a graphic for Mirage and a graphic for Siege. So people are like, does that mean those 2 games are coming? I would say yes, probably. That's probably what that means.
Makes sense to me.
Is it confirmation they're coming? No. Not a confirmation they're coming. Does it probably
It might as well be confirmation.
It probably does mean that they're coming. And then last news story, another video game that will be showing up for Switch 2, I talked about, I think, in recent weeks, is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Has been rated for Switch 2 in Saudi Arabia. So that's like a very easy guess. Of course, that game was going to get ported over.
Right.
So, yeah, there's like another direct already amount of news just sitting there whenever Nintendo wants to pop. The thing, we're not that far away, like 30 days away. It comes out June 5th. We know there's going to be their summer direct anyway. So you can already expect some of these announcements to be probably announced soon. It seems like either before the Switch releases or right after it. Seems like we'll have another Switch Direct with more information and more games to be announced. And probably a lot from Ubisoft because they've got several games rated and confirmed for Switch that we haven't heard about yet. So, yeah.
That's a lot.
That's it. That's the news.
I love that we have like real stuff to talk about now. Like it's been a long time coming where, we came in and it's like, there's not a lot of news today, guys, but we still ended up recording for 2 hours.
They just delayed that. It feels like they delayed the Switch 2 for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like it was supposed to come out a couple years ago. And they were like, for whatever reason, they were like, nah, let's milk this a little bit more. And so now this is all just pin up, ready to burst.
XBSS has Rainbow Six been on a Nintendo platform since N64? I didn't even know there was one on N64.
I want to say Wii.
I want to say no.
I don't know why I want to say Wii. I just thought with like the shooter, was it the I have one. What the hell is it called? The Link's crossbow, the Zapper, right? The little Wii Zapper. I thought like all of those games back then, like was it Rainbow Six Vegas and stuff? I thought they all came to Wii. But I may just be thinking it because I have Call of Duty, and I think Medal of Honor did too. But maybe not Rainbow Six.
I don't know. Someone can chime in if they know. All right. Shaq, questions directly from you.
Game Boy Color? GameCube. Sorry, I found it. Yeah, 64, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, GameCube, and then nothing since then.
Wow. Okay. So it's been a hot minute. All right. Questions from you, starting with Coroller. How long do you think the NS1 will be supported for? The PS4 still gets some new games like Fantasy Life. And this is years after the PS5 being out. Could Nintendo follow suit for a while?
Could they? Absolutely. Will they? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on it. I think I can make a case either way.
I think for first party games, we've seen everything that is going to come to the Switch One. I think whatever comes out last, what is it? Tomodachi Life and or Rhythm Heaven.
Yeah.
Whichever one comes out last will be the last first party. You had like Just Dance coming to the Wii since like 5 years ago. Like,
yeah,
I think there will still be some publishers that support it for probably most of the Switch 2.
That I agree with. Yeah, no, that I agree with. Like indies and smaller games, like
I think they'll come out for both the Switch 1 and 2.
If a game can run on Switch, publishers will put it there.
Yeah.
Because there's so many of them to sell to. You can't not.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think Nintendo will, so I agree with you there. And that's where I'm thinking in my head, like, where does Nintendo historically cuts off pretty quick. It's like as soon as they build a base, they cut off because they know if they keep putting games over there, people won't move up.
Yeah, but I think if the eShop, if the eShop server infrastructure is the same on the Switch 1 and 2, I think there will be people that will still keep releasing on both.
Yeah,
like indies
I
and
think
stuff.
people will.
Like, why
I just
wouldn't
don't think
you?
Nintendo will.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah, I think Nintendo's probably there for maybe 2 years. Kind of like the Switch. Like we got WarioWare Gold and stuff. Like we got 3DS support well after the Switch released. That's kind of what I'm thinking now. Maybe they don't. Like the only reason I would say no is if the Switch 2 doesn't sell very well, which I think we can already rule that out. But if the Switch 2 like just ran into a real problem where it couldn't get units in because of the tariffs or something, then obviously I think Nintendo would make decisions to make the most money they can. But I don't think we're gonna. I think by the end of August, Switch 2 will already probably have like a 10 million console install base.
I agree.
And they're just going to look to build on top of that. And the best example that we have, and I don't even like saying it because I love backwards compatibility, but we just saw this with the Xbox and the PlayStation. And for as great as the PlayStation has sold, it's sold really well. Many people think it would have sold a lot better if it didn't have so much cross-gen support. And then Xbox even woefully more. You know, like those consoles have had a hard time.
Because how many people are going to say, I don't need one because I have the Switch 1?
I can already play Fortnite and all these things. Like until that, you got to get them over. I think the Switch 2 is a better. It's a better place for Switch 2 has a better argument because the leap between the two consoles is going to be greater. Like the performance leap, your people are going to want to get to the Switch 2 because it's going to be that much better. I think the issue with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox is for a lot of people, they're like, yeah, like it's better, but like, do I care that it's like 300 pixels better? Like a lot of people like, it's Fortnite, Fortnite and Madden. It's the same stuff. Look at him.
I had to move my keyboard, my Steam Deck, Stream Deck.
Kick back.
Yeah.
That cat lives a charmed life.
He really does. I think that Gen 10 Pokemon will be the thing that gets people to upgrade.
Yeah. That'll be a big one.
Kate asks, do you think you'll play more on the TV with the Switch 2 or vice versa if you play docked already? I've been playing a lot of handheld.
I've been playing mostly handheld for years now. So, yeah, like playing anything on the TV would be more. And I do think I'll play more on Switch 2 for sure. You look at just how good like Cyberpunk looks on the TV. Like I will want to do. I'll probably play Breath of the Wild mostly on the TV as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, when there's performance gains from dock, I'll play dock. If there's not, then I'll probably play portable. Probably
same. I think when the Switch 1 came out, like for the first couple years of it, I was very split like with docked and handheld, but the past couple of years I've been really mostly only doing handheld with a couple times, on the dock. But I think with this Switch 2, like I will go back to playing docked for things like, replaying Breath of the Wild or like, I don't know, situations where I would want to have it on the TV, like if I'm doing obviously like local play with Josh or whatever TV.
I imagine I'll still be mostly portable regardless.
Yeah, I think
I'll play more on TV, but I'll still be mostly portable.
Same.
I just get used to curling up on the couch and playing.
Kyle the Pug. Delvin's not here, so I need you to do it, Donnie.
Fuck you, Kyle the Pug.
Now, where is Delvin? I thought he was joining late. Where is he?
That was a good question. I was just thinking the same thing. Let me go see if you have a message. We do. He says he's in traffic, so I don't think he's coming.
Well, I hope he stays safe in traffic. I don't want him to speed and end up in a multi-car accident on I-95. Kyle asks us, now that we are almost a month away from the Switch 2's release date, are your pre-orders still a green light? I've been checking Best Buy every day to make sure nothing goes wrong. I checked mine like the first 2 days afterwards and it seemed okay.
Both mine are
I
fine.
assume you would get an email if it was canceled, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So mine is still good. I only
fine.
pre-ordered the console though.
All mine are good. I've had no cancellations or anything.
Yeah, I haven't heard of anybody else getting theirs canceled.
I tried to change the address on my backup so I could just have them ship it to Josh instead of me.
Yeah.
And it was like, if you do this, your order will be canceled. I was like, never mind.
No. Yeah, that's scary.
I just feel like the last.
I wonder if you could call them and have them do it manually.
It's a good question.
Like they might be able to do it.
I feel like the last few things I've sold and shipped, the shipping price has been like egregious.
Yeah. Oh
the
yeah.
Shipping prices are high, and I feel like I need to have a conversation with Josh before launch. I'm like, are you sure you want me to ship? I was like, it might be $100, dude.
Yeah, it could be.
It very well
really
could
could
be.
be.
Like, I shipped a controller to Steven, and it was like $30.
Yeah.
It's like for a controller, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So,
you might want to try to see if he can get one, like on one of those orders that pop up.
Yeah, you might.
Super Meta Boy asks, as we all know, moaning is the best medicine. Oh, I did a lot of that before we started here.
That can mean a lot of things, Rebecca.
Well, that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about gaming regrets. Tell us about those times that you paid full price for a game you know you'll never play.
Snake Pass.
The time you bought something before the new model was released, the console you bricked trying to hack, the triple-digit hours you sunk into a game that's no longer alive. Let's hear all and any delicious regrets.
Huh.
Um,
Regrets. I have a lot of regrets of buying games I didn't like, but like I've never bricked a console trying to hack it. A game that's no longer alive. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of those. Middle Earth, for one.
I got my hacked Switch online banned because I stupidly was going online. It like wasn't causing me a problem for a while, and then like one time it did, and then I got online.
I was always afraid of that with my 3DS.
Yeah.
For years, I was afraid I'd turn my 3DS on and it would like, you're bricked. Like they would just release an update where they killed all of our 3DSs. But I normally don't hack stuff until it's like out of window anyway. Like I'm not here just breaking things just like while it's happening.
Just to do it, yeah. I only did it because it's not my. I had a new console.
I'm happy to buy the games if they'll make the games available for me to buy. If they won't, then I'll take matters in my own hands. But
I've bought a lot of games at $60 only to not play them, and then they went to be like $20, like Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I bought it
I've got
$60.
one that you'll love. I've got one that everybody will love. Here's my E-Crow moment. I own the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters.
Me too.
Never play them. Never will. Never will.
I still intend to play 6.
I won't. I'm gonna play that damn game. I've never played Final Fantasy, but at the release felt like such a cool moment, and like a great like collector's item. I was like, I gotta have it.
Listen,
I gotta put it on the shelf.
Nothing else, I used my wallet to vote for Chrono Trigger HD 2D, which we had a false alarm this week.
Yes, we did.
I didn't even entertain it. People tagged me. I was like, I don't believe it until it's announced.
So I spent $45 on Final Fantasy for no reason. It was just.
Well, I didn't buy all of those. I only bought the one I wanted.
I just like for a while. I remember thinking I thought it might have been like a limited print. I was like, are they just like not going to make a lot of these? Because it felt like they were like trying to push people to buy them individually on the eShop. So
you bought the physical?
Yeah.
I hated the box art, so I bought it digitally.
Yeah, that makes sense. The box art was
stupid.
Yeah, it's just not special at all. But yeah, I just felt like it was like one of those, I don't know, collection things. Like if you're gonna have a little Switch collection, like it should be in there. Yeah. So I bought it for no reason.
Hey, that is a good item. I think that's a good item to have.
So
even if you don't like Final Fantasy,
I have Mario collection the same way. I have it digitally and I have a physical copy for no reason, other than to put it on the shelf. I have a lot of games. I got that adult game that I was telling you about a while ago, that brick breaking game. I got that just because of the show. Like that's the thing that I'm more depressed about with Switch 2 than anything, is that I have bought so many fun games and like weird games and found games just because, and I won't be doing that on Switch 2. Like I just won't, because of the game key cards and what they're doing. Like I just won't be doing that stuff. I'll still be buying the $2 games like when they're available, but digitally.
Yeah. I've bought lots of $60 PS4 games for my ex who never opened them for months and months and years. Even one that when I was moving out, I found it still sealed, so I just took it back.
Yeah, you should have.
It was Ratchet and Clank for PS5, and then I gave it to Josh.
It's a really good game.
Yeah. Because he would just play that, like he was like interested in it, but then would just like fall back onto the games that he was familiar with, and chronic, just like me, like, oh yeah, I'll play that, I'll get to it.
I've never bricked a console, but I will tell you, I had this idea once. I've got this controller. It's this cheap. Hang on, let me go grab it.
I'm trying to think of other regrets. I've definitely corrupted my save files in Pokemon back in the day.
I've got this cheap Zelda controller. It's a third-party controller.
That's so cute. I love that controller.
It's a pro
so much.
controller, and it's got like this little design of like the dragon, and it's
That's
gold,
better
right?
than the official one.
And I liked it, but I would like it a lot better if all of the green buttons and grips and everything were black. And I tried to do it. I started taking a controller apart because I'd been in and out of an Xbox and a PlayStation controller a bunch. I was like, surely I can do the Nintendo. I couldn't.
Really?
It was way worse.
It's an official Nintendo controller? Is that different?
No, I took an official Nintendo controller apart thinking I could get the pieces, the buttons and stuff to put in this one.
It's like not compatible. It's like not a one-to-one.
I don't remember exactly, but like I remember I ruined the controller.
Oh.
Because like I got it down to the point where like I couldn't even get it back together. I was like,
oh.
There's like ribbons and springs and shit like
there are
popping out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I was able to follow, and I think you did too, swapping out the just the shell on a pro controller.
The shell you can do, but when you start trying to replace the stick, like you have to replace like the pull the whole module and the board, and I was
especially if you're not following like a video where it like walks you through it all. Yeah.
So I was just like, well, I guess we're just gonna leave it green.
That's a regret. I don't think I've ever regretted putting triple-digit hours into a game. Like, which just seems like
you just have to love the game that much to go that far into it.
Like, even if the game's no longer alive, like, I get that though, but I don't regret it.
New Joy-Con 2 colors when?
Yeah.
Probably next year, 2026.
Yeah. Probably
late 2026, I'd imagine.
With like Pokemon or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Just like bad game purchases, like financially.
Snake Pass. The two that come back to my mind.
Bomberman.
Snake Pass and the Goose Game.
You don't like Untitled Goose? I thought that game was only like $20.
It's not that I didn't like it. Snake Pass was too. It's that I got into those games because of all the hype. This Gamersphere hype, all the blogs and all the reviewers, all the YouTubers like, yeah, I get it, it's great.
Untitled Goose Game does not deserve your hate.
I'm like, it's not great. It's like, it's fine. You know, it's like, okay. Like, I guess the whole thing is like, the whole thing is to like honk at this guy until he steps on a rake. Like, that's your game of the year. This is your champion.
That is. That is.
But Super Bomberman R for sure. I bought that game too. I destroyed that game back when we had a website. I gave that. I think I reviewed. I give it like a 4.
Good.
like I was like, this is one of the worst games I've played in years.
Mm-hmm.
This game sucks.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, 1, 2, Switch sucks. Like, no, actually, I'd rather play that than Bomberman.
Yeah, actually. Okay, Jay asks us, I recently started back up Xenoblade 2 despite already beating it twice. What's the longest game you've beat more than once?
That is a very good question.
The longest game.
And as much as I tried really hard to find a better answer, I think my answer is Breath of the Wild. I have beaten Breath of the Wild completely 3 times. Switch 2 will be my 4th time. And I don't think there's a longer game that I've gone through more than that.
I don't really play a lot of long games. I try to avoid long games.
Even on a short run, Breath of the Wild for me is like 40 hours. Even like on a concentrated, run. The first time I played it was over 100 hours. I think I've probably put over 200 hours into Breath of the Wild, period.
Maybe something like Twilight Princess. Like, you can put like a good 40 to 60 hours in that game, and I've played it several times.
Have you?
Yeah, I played it.
I've only beaten Twilight twice.
I think I've beaten it at least twice, if not 3 times.
I beat it on Wii, and then I beat it on Wii U, and that's it.
It's not like a super long game, though. I don't play a lot of like the 100+ hour games that I play are like games that don't have an end, or like you don't like things like Splatoon or like Animal Crossing
Sure.
or like
It'll have an end.
Rocket League. Like those are all my 100+ hour games.
Yeah. Like I've played more of Valhalla than Breath of the Wild, but I've only beaten it once. It just took that many hours for me to beat it the one time.
Like Breath of the Wild will probably be because I plan to rebeat that.
Mm-hmm. It'll be time number 4 for me, and I'll be going. I think number 4 I'll be going for probably a completionist run. Because the other times I rebeat it, we've played it twice on Shack over the years, and in both those times I never played any of the DLC. I never did like any of the extras. I didn't complete all the shrines. It was very much like a beat the game run, like a Golden Path run. This I'm going to be like more of a take my time. I want all shrines.
How long's Wind Waker?
25 hours? Is it that long? I don't even think it's that long.
I don't know. Yeah.
Wind Waker? Or Wii U Wind Waker or GameCube?
I don't know. That's not my answer. I don't know. The only games that I play are the ones that don't.
25 hours. That was spot on.
Yeah.
This is how long to beat.
Yeah.
I think it's like 20 hours.
Yeah, I don't really have a good answer for this. Sorry.
Nick says, seems like everyone is going Breath of the Wild more than Tears of the Kingdom. I do want to replay Tears of the Kingdom. Like the Switch 2 makes me want to replay Tears of the Kingdom. It's something I did not think I would ever say when I beat Tears of the Kingdom. But it seems so fresh and current that I'll have to give it some time. So like with Breath of the Wild, I have not replayed Breath of the Wild in some time. So I'll probably replay Breath of the Wild now, and then maybe next year or the year after, maybe I'll go back to Tears. I do want to spin up Tears because I think Tears of the Kingdom looks a lot better on Switch 2 than Breath of the Wild. Like it looks more impressive visually. Like what you're getting out of it is more impressive. So like I do want to revisit Tears of the Kingdom. I will probably do Tears of the Kingdom again, but do more of a Golden Path run on Tears of the Kingdom.
The more time that goes by, the more I'm starting to jump on the Tears of the Kingdom hate train.
Yeah. I welcome you, as I feel like one of the early adopters of that. It's not that I hate it. Like, we've been over this. It's not that I love the game. I do love it. It's just it's not Breath of the Wild. And I felt like early on I was resistant to everybody that was like, it's way better. I was like, I don't think it is.
That was how I felt, but I really want to try to recapture how I felt with Breath of the Wild playing it on Switch 2. I'm going to see if I can capture that again. What
I think I'm going to do with Tears of the Kingdom is whenever I'm ready, I think I'm going to boot up, because Tears of the Kingdom, the save, I'm going to carry over. I think I'm going to bring that over and then just start cleaning up things that I didn't finish with Tears of the Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I'll do versus replay the whole thing.
I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah. Because I wouldn't say like I really grinded that game out to progress forward, right? So like I could go back to it now and just be like, let me just start hitting these side stories and just like wander around and not really worry about trying to complete it or get batteries or any of that. Just kind of wander around and do stuff.
Am I able to make a second save file on Breath of the Wild?
Yes. If you didn't see that in the direct, both games have 2 save files in the game. In the game.
Good. Oh, thank God. I know Breath of the Wild didn't at first.
I will be starting a brand new, fresh Breath of the Wild. Yeah, I'm starting from ground zero, from scratch.
Because I hate deleting original save files of my games. Like, I hate doing that. Even if I'm never going to touch it again, I like to have it. Yeah. I don't know why. It's just me. Mm-hmm. Mr. Vargas asks us, aren't unpatched Switch 1 games going to look worse, blurrier, on the Switch 2 in handheld mode because 720p isn't even a multiple of 1080p? Every 2 pixels will have to stretch across 3 pixels on the new display, similar to how DS games look blurry when played on the 3DS.
That's interesting. It's an interesting way to take it. I was wondering if the Switch 2 would just run Switch 1 games in docked mode. So like in Switch 1, there's two profiles. There's the undocked profile and there's the docked profile, right? Usually in like portable play, most games are 720. And then in docked mode, most games are like 900 or 1080p, right? You get an up-res when you play any Switch game and you play it docked, you usually get an up-res, right?
Sure.
I was thinking that profile would be the one that would play handheld on Switch 2 because it's got more power. So like, why would you play the Switch 1 game in portable mode? Why wouldn't you play the Switch 1 game in dock mode on Switch 2? Why wouldn't you play it at 1080p? Like,
so
whenever,
you're saying that you should play it on docked mode if you're gonna.
Yeah, I'm not doing a good job explaining this.
No, my brain's just mush.
So on Switch 1, when docked, you get better performance.
Sure.
Because the Switch 2 just gives you better performance out of the gate, I was thinking that even if the game is unpatched, the docked profile on Switch 1, that's how it would run portably on Switch 2. It would just run the best version of that game because it can, because it's better hardware. It just can. And like, it would be the same, if it's unpatched, it would be the same, like docked, undocked, but it would still be the quote unquote docked version of the game. You'd be running it at its best profile. Maybe you won't. It's a good question. It's one of those questions we don't know because nobody's played a backwards compatible game on Switch 2 yet and talked about it. Like there's, for as close as it is, there's tons of questions. Like we still don't know so much about it.
XBS asked, would there be a controller compatibility issues running them in docked mode? I don't think so. Because it has all the same. I feel like the controller would be built to work for those games as well.
And I would just feel like it'd be a part of that conversion layer that they're building for the compatibility. Mm-hmm. That you would just take the best. You would run that game as best it goes. So even if it's locked at docked at say 1080p 30, then that's how it should run on portable. It should be 1080p 30. I would imagine. Who knows? It could be completely wrong. Maybe they didn't put that much effort into it. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm very interested to see like what playing back compact games is like on Switch 2. Because they have this chart of these thousands of games that have been untested and stuff. Like in the back of my brain, I'm thinking, like, are we all gonna get these systems and like shit just doesn't work? And like half of it's
very possible, and we're waiting for patches to play our
for
game.
Like years and years. We're just waiting for this library to get cut over. I hope that's not the case. I really do.
All I know, and quote me on this, if my Animal Crossing New Horizons Switch 1 game, there we go! If it does not load faster on my Switch 2, I will return my Switch 2 to the store.
You won't. Don't say
yes,
that.
Yes, I will. I will do that.
I think the loading, especially, I'll say this, especially if you install the game.
It doesn't need to look better.
Is it a digital game?
Yes.
Okay. Then if you install the game on the internal memory, it should load faster. It should. We need these hands-ons. We need people to get Switch 2 so we can ask all these questions. I have so many questions. And they're like nitty-gritty questions like
That's
this.
That's like my number one most wanted thing. Like,
I have so many questions about little minutia. Back and pat. Systems, themes, settings. Show us how all of this is supposed to work. So, yeah, upscaling could kick in. So even if you're running, exactly. The upscaling should work no matter what. And you should be able to take advantage of VRR too. So if you're running a Switch 1 game that, can only run at like 45 frames a second or something, like it should be improved on Switch 2.
I will not throw it in the Delaware River because I want my $550 back.
Yeah, and you just got this $100 for free Pro Controller. You just got a free Pro Controller.
Yeah.
Because that's how much they cost. The plot's been completely lost, Rebecca. Like, gaming is just fucking...
I'm not getting it.
I don't know where it's going, but like it's just like at this point all I can do is laugh. All I can do is sit back and laugh and keep buying as many physical games as we can, as they'll let us before it's all gone. It's like, well, we tried.
just want my faster Animal Crossing. That's all I want. Gags asks, if the Switch 2 edition cartridges don't actually save you money, is it actually smarter to buy the Switch 1 version physically with the digital upgrade pack that way you can play on a cartridge on the Switch 1 and 2? We did say this a couple weeks ago about Kirby and the Forgotten World land.
Yep.
Whatever.
Also, the Switch 2 cartridge should still work on the Switch 1.
Is that a fact?
I think you can put the Switch 2 cartridge in a Switch 1.
I don't think that's a fact.
I think Rune Factory said you could, and it would know which version of the game.
Marvelous games, not like Kirby.
I'm just saying. I think the car. I'm not. Doesn't even matter the game. I'm just saying the cartridge. I think the cartridge should work. Like you should be able to put any cartridge in any system. Will it run the game? That depends if it's a Switch 2 only
what's
game.
the point of putting it in the system if it's not going to run it?
Well, I'm just saying like Kirby, for example, that's a Switch 1 game. He's asking, do I want to buy the Switch 1 game? That way you can play the cartridge on the Switch 1 and 2. I think any game that's compatible for Switch 1, if it's a Switch 2 cartridge, I think you can still put in a Switch 1. That's all I'm saying.
I know, but I think what he's saying is
it
let me
yes.
go on eBay and buy it for
Yes.
$40 and get the $20 upgrade that way. I'm paying $60 instead of $80.
100%. Yeah, if you can spin the deal, yeah, absolutely. You can bring those costs down if you buy used, buy cheap. 100%. Mm-hmm. That's just a matter if you want the cartridge or not.
Do you want it to be red?
Yeah, I need red cartridges. I bought Breath of the Wild. Need it. Bought Tears of the Kingdom too. I don't even want to play it again. Bought Tears of the Kingdom as well.
I need more money. Mathman asks.
That helps.
Yeah. Without raising, I'm sorry, let me start over. Mathman asks.
I'm not rich. I'm irresponsible. There's a difference.
That's true. Yeah, very, very good point. With Xbox raising prices across the board for their systems, games, and accessories, how likely do you think there will be a price hike for the Switch 2 before the end of the year, especially if there isn't a positive resolution to the tariffs?
Okay, if there's a really bad negative solution to the tariffs, then the chances go up for sure. I don't think we're getting a price raise this year. That's a short amount of time. I think Nintendo would eat the costs for this year. They've already announced the pricing, right? Like, it's hard. They've already announced the pricing. It's all the marketing. It's all the things. Now you're going to come out a couple months later and just change the price. I mean, you could. It's possible. But I don't think Nintendo would do that. I also think their prices already factor in some tariffs. So if the tariff thing goes south, which it could, because we're living in the end times apparently, I think what Nintendo would do was, I think Nintendo would try to ready a different system to combat costs. I don't know what that would be.
That's what they pull out the digital only SKU.
Something. Yeah.
It's a little bit cheaper for them to manufacture. They make it the same price as this one, even though you're getting less.
Yeah, I would see a revision coming soon. If the tariffs got real bad, they would sell these at this price at this loss. They would look to introduce something that would phase that out. I think would be the move versus just. And now it's very expensive to do that. I'm not saying that lightly. They already have manufacturing. They already have products. So maybe they would just increase the price. But I feel like they would want to weather the storm. And I think they would try to look to find a model that was more cost effective.
I agree. And he does have a follow-up question to this. What would be... What?
Sorry, I was thinking perhaps take stuff out of the box. Obviously, no Mario Kart. Maybe take the dock out.
And you don't get an HDMI cable.
Something. Yeah, something. I mean, maybe it's easier now than thinking about it. Maybe it's just easier to raise the price. It might just be easier to do that. I still think they'd wait until 2026. Even if they were losing. I don't think they're going to do it now. I think they'd wait till next year.
He wants to know, what will the new price heading into the holiday shopping season? If all my pre-orders come through, should I hold on to extras to flip for a profit later?
No, we're not flipping for profits.
Extras? Extras? How many of these do you have, Mathman?
What is it now? It's $450, $500. So if the tariffs go terribly bad and everything, they raise the price, it'd be $50 on each one. So $500, $550. That's not too bad. I could see it.
Plus tax.
But I still think, I know what they said, I think the prices that we have tariffs factored in.
I think so too.
Maybe they'd only raise in America. That maybe makes sense.
That would send a message.
Yeah,
and I think that would be fair. That would be fair.
I think that would be fair.
I hope Canada doesn't get caught in the crossfire.
Yeah.
King Riley Smiley asks us, what's a Switch 1 game that you really want to see get a proper Switch 2 edition for? He says, for me, it's probably Mario and Luigi Brothership. The performance seemed quite awful on the Switch 1. I would buy a Switch 2 edition if proper care and treatment went into it, maybe with DLC as well. I didn't know the performance of that game was that bad.
Yeah, a lot of people talked about that. That was an Unreal game, so it ran poorly. It's second party.
That's a shame.
Like Nintendo didn't make that one, so they ported that out. So it was not up to Nintendo standards.
It's too bad.
It was more in line, like it was like the Brilliant Diamond version of a Mario game.
Oh,
yeah, it was like that. It's pretty glitchy and stuff.
I don't realize it was that bad. I think I said this before. I would love Pikmin 4 to get a Switch edition with extra content. Yeah, give me that extra content. I will pay for the upgrade.
XBS with my answer. My answer would be Bayonetta. Mm-hmm. I really, really was enjoying Bayonetta 3 and wanted to stick through it. It's just is really tough to play on Switch 1. It really was. Let's let Bayonetta be what it's supposed to be, and I would definitely go back to it, 100%. I just don't know what Platinum's doing. Like right now, like Platinum is in a world of hurt, so like I don't know if we'll see any more Bayonetta. Like I hope so, but they're doing Ninja Gaiden and stuff, and they've lost so many people, and the Astral Chain people left, and I don't know what.
Bayonetta will be something that you'll see at like a game conference in 2030 where they flash up the logo Bayonetta 4 and we won't hear about it for like 6 years.
That's if Platinum's around. I just saw something this past week. Apparently they were hiring for another service game. Their last service game like was woeful and tanked. Like they canceled it like within days. And apparently they're going to try again. Wow. And they're working with Team Ninja on Ninja Gaiden, so that's what they're doing right now. That's their work. So I don't know what the future holds for Platinum and Nintendo. Yeah. I really don't. So
that's too bad. They're
they were.
I feel like they were an important studio for
they
Nintendo.
Really were for a period of time. They were really holding it down. So I really hope that they get it together. And like if Nintendo's paying the bills like they have been. And, Platinum needs work. Maybe they can still pull it off. I worry about the talent. They've lost so much talent. You wonder, what does that mean for the game? Like, can Bayonetta still be Bayonetta with all those people leave? Can you just hire new people and keep making Bayonetta?
You can, but I don't think people would like it as much.
Same?
No.
Yeah, like, is it the same? Is it different? I don't know. That remains to be seen. I think that's the question they have to answer before we hear about more Bayonetta.
Mm-hmm. I feel passionate about this next question. I think we're going to have different answers. Bookish Penguin asks, I'm finally debating getting a Steam Deck to supplement the Switch because it seems that the Switch-only peeps don't get the buzzy new games like Blueprints, which like is getting all the accolades.
Dude, and Jeff loves the fucking
Claire game. Obscure. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Jeff in these trying times. Yes. Do you all think this issue will be better with the Switch 2 out? I'm sure some of these games will come to the Switch 2 later, but by that time, the world will have moved on. First of all, don't give a crap if the world has moved on. These games are just as worth playing if you get to them 5 years from now. If they're good games, it doesn't matter when you play them. You should play them despite if people have moved on or not. I play old, amazing games all the time. Games don't get worse just because time has gone by. So don't let that influence you at all. Second, I love my Steam Deck. I have said for years that a Switch and a Steam Deck is the way to go. I like to pick certain games that I play on the Steam Deck. I like to play certain games on the Switch. Like sometimes there's just no rhyme and reason to it. It just feels like it should be a Switch game. It feels like it should be a Steam Deck game. You're going to get stuff that is never going to come to the Switch on Steam. A lot of these things probably might, more on the Switch 2 since it can handle it, but I wouldn't guarantee it. And you will love having the Steam Deck despite even if some of these games come to the Switch eventually.
I agree.
Yay! Oh, that makes me so happy.
Yeah, I think both these games will come to Switch 2 pretty soon. I honestly think in the case of Blueprints, it probably could come to Switch 1 already. They probably just have deals with the other publishers not to. Like from the footage I've seen from the game, I may be wrong. I'm not a developer, but I don't see anything on screen that looks like it couldn't run on Switch. So, like, I think they could have brought it to Switch 1. Maybe they just have a deal not to do it yet. That's not new. We've seen that with a lot of games. That's common. So,
I would say...
And the pushback would be Switch gets a lot of these sort of games that nobody else gets.
Yeah, they do.
So like that works both ways. Like Hollow Knight was a Switch exclusive. Golf Story is still exclusive. Like they get their own versions of that as well.
Listen, if money is tight, just get the Switch. If you have the cash to spare for a Steam Deck, do it. You will not regret it.
Clair Obscura is a different story. Like Blueprints, Clair Obscura, not the same thing. Clair Obscura needs more. Like it's pushing the boundaries. So yeah, that needs to be a Switch 2 game. I have a Steam Deck, right? As I held it up into the screen while you were talking. I have a Steam Deck too. So yeah, I completely agree. I think maybe I agree for maybe slightly different reasons. I wouldn't be buying either one based on exclusivity purposes. But what I would tell you is based on the game key cards and the focus on digital, if you were to get a Steam Deck, you can buy a lot of third-party games, indies, much cheaper.
Cheaper, yes. I was going to say that. Yeah.
So I would tell you to do it as a cost-effective thing.
There have been times where I'm looking at a game that's been out for a while, and I see it's on both Switch and Steam Deck, and it's almost always has a sale on Steam that is significantly cheaper.
It's kind of, for Switch, it's different, but something that I've talked about for years on other shows, it's kind of weird how these portables all get lopped into like console wars. It's just like how gamers are. But this has been happening since Steam Deck came out. It was like Steam Deck versus the Allies. It's like they're all the same fucking thing. Like this really ridiculous to even like make argument. They're all the same thing. They're all handheld PCs. They all play the same damn games. It's really dumb that you're warring over which one is better than the other. I kind of feel the same way with the Steam Deck and the Switch. It's like they're both portables. Mm-hmm. Just get them. Switch obviously has its own exclusive library, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, no, I like the Steam Deck. I was playing. You may know this, Rebecca, because you deal with the kids and everything. I was playing Schedule 1 all week on my Steam Deck. Have you seen this game?
No.
This is like kind of like the trendy hipster game that's kind of going around the TikToks and stuff.
Oh, jeez.
It's a drug dealer simulator where you actually like grow weed and clip it and sell it, and you build like an organization of dealers.
Asking for with like Animal Crossing.
It's really popular. Like even Jack knew. Jack was, oh, you're playing the game. All my friends play the game. Like this is the hotness with the kids. They love this game. God. It's super like Parappa the Rapper, like kind of like derpy like art style.
Yeah.
But the gameplay is really deep. You have to grow different strains of weed for different customers and get different dealers. You like it's a whole syndicate of a game. It's really good. It's really funny. So I've been playing that. So there will always be, just like Nintendo will always have games that you can't play anywhere else. Steam will always have games that just never come to consoles for different reasons. So I do think they complement each other well.
The only games that kids are playing that I hear about are Roblox games. And if I hear one more thing about Sprunky.
Jack loves Roblox.
Does he know Sprunky?
I'm sure
it's like
does.
It looks so stupid. It's like for little kids
He plays these days. He plays F1, a couple shooters, but it's a lot of Roblox. They're doing a lot of Roblox games.
Sprunky is, I think, for like way too young for him. But
it seems like and there's lots of postulating this week with the raises and costs and like the future of consoles. It seems like the future of gaming is like these platforms, these Fortnites, these Roblox that have like a lot of different things to offer, like in different various. Like I'm wondering if like the future is like hardware that has like
its own infrastructure,
but like much smaller amounts of games that you just play more of. Yeah, seems to be like the model. Mm-hmm. Instead of lots and lots of games.
It kind of reminds me of us being like into Flash games on like websites like Albino Black Sheep or like like Neopets.
It's funny you bring that up. We had somebody ask us about that this week, and Delvin and I on PSVG this week had like a 20-minute Flash game.
Our generation loved Flash games, and like they were all free. Yeah. And like you would just go to that website and play all of those. And is that really that different from Roblox? Newgrounds,
RPG and stuff. Yeah.
Mini Clip. I was big into Mini Clip.
Do you ever play Mario 63?
No.
That was the game that I was telling Delvin about. That's what I used to play on my Chromebook. That shit was awesome. It's really good. Or Super Smash Flash. Smash Brothers, the Flash game. That was
no, but I've seen my kids play that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I was like looking at it. I'm like,
yeah. You're like, well, that's not right, but it is Smash though. You're
yeah,
like, yeah.
And it has all these other characters. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. It's like that homebrew nature. That seems to be like the younger generation's thing more than anything. I think is like what they latch on.
And they're
to.
making their own games on Roblox.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and making money.
Yeah.
And making money doing it.
Like, what are we doing?
That's the Flash game part of it. It's like we give you this engine, we let you create your own assets, monetize that. That's like that Flash thing. That's what they were doing. Like all those people that were doing that, kids like mess around, they became developers. They're like working on games now. That's where that stuff comes in. And like I think that's like the future of Fortnite and like what they're trying to do with their assets. You make money on doing that. Roblox, of course. I'm not sure if you're following this Mind's Eye at all. There's this game coming out of the summer. It's supposed to be coming out of the summer called Mind's Eye. It's from a developer, a studio that's ran by Leslie Benzies, who used to run Rockstar. Like
GTA. Yeah, okay.
So it is this cyberpunk GTA looking type game, like this Watch Dogs game. It doesn't look as good, but it looks like that. They were working on a platform that was like, to me, like it sounded like a AAA version of like a Roblox.
Yeah.
We're going to like give you tools, let you build like real big games. And like this game was supposed to be an example of what you could do with it. I don't know where they left off on that thing, but they were doing on something like that as well. That seems to be like where the investment money is going in the future. It's like blockchain platform, user generated, not developers, not studios. That's very disruptive to like this whole model. And it feels like we're getting a glimpse of that right now.
It's very profitable. It's very, very profitable. And people will go where the money is.
Studio millions of dollars and make that bet.
To make one game.
And let anybody do it. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I do not want to download Roblox. But there is a game that I am so curious about. It's a Warriors RPG game, and I like not Dynasty Warriors, like Warrior Cats, like clan cats.
Warrior Cats. Oh, okay.
And apparently it's very good.
They almost got me with a Chucky game, and then I looked into it, and apparently it's really bad. Somebody made a Chucky game. You run around and kill everybody. And I was like,
I just want to avoid having Roblox ever downloaded. Like that seems like a not great decision.
Yeah, I don't think it's for me. I think my generation, like I'm going to be that generation that when everybody leaves,
shakes your cane at it.
Well, definitely for sure. But I could see like 15 years from now, 20 years from now, if I'm still here. It's a funny joke. I could see like the world's moved on to where like Fortnite is a platform and everybody just does that. And I could see me with like a little like mini console that I bought because I'm still hanging on to like of the way that it used to be.
A little Game Boy.
Like, eventually they'll just start making games for us like as a demographic.
Yeah.
Like they'll just be like,
we're going to be the niche group.
Yeah. Yeah. Like these people still like, but like Evercade. It'll be like a little box that sells little things you put in there and be like, I guess these old people just like this shit. I don't know why, but yeah. I don't think I've never ever enjoyed. Hang on. Let me think. Barring Mario Maker, which even in its own right was mixed, I've never particularly been a fan of user-generated content. I think in almost any example. So the idea of like that being like a big part of the future, it's like I'll be playing 64 things. So I'm like that's where I kind of get off the ride.
It's not like every single game is like made by some Joe Schmo. There's still very carefully, curated teams.
And some of them are good.
Yeah.
Some of them are good. Just like Mario Maker.
There's
some of them
huge amount of trash.
It just takes a long time to find it. It takes a lot of effort and everything to get there.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want any part of that.
Yeah. I think we have one last question here from Jason Lee. Are you guys planning to transfer your entire Switch 1 library to Switch 2 or planning to start over with a clean slate? Since we now have virtual game cards, I'm not doing a system transfer. I would like to talk about this. What is the pros and cons of doing a full system transfer to this new Switch? Because I don't know if I want to.
I mean, the pro would be, namely the pro would be like you could sell your old system and you just move everything over and you get rid of your old one.
If I'm not selling it.
If you're not selling it, just if you didn't want to like, I don't know, if you just wanted to have everything. Like I'm doing the same thing Jason's doing. Like when I showed you earlier and being able to check all the games in and out, that's the first thing I thought of is I'm just going to set up my Switch 2 as a new system and I will pick and choose what to bring over and what not versus everything.
Wait a second. Oh, okay. I have a couple questions.
Okay. Try to help him.
Because now I'm thinking. So we were just talking about how you can only have 2 consoles set up on that game card share thing.
Correct.
So when I get my Switch 2, I have to pick my Switch 2 and either my OLED or my Switch Lite.
Or Josh's Switch 2.
It doesn't sound like that's going to be a possibility. Like, if I can only do
you
two.
You can link two Switch systems together. It'd be your Switch 2 and Josh's Switch 2.
I know, but then I won't be able to do my Switch 1.
You won't be able to move games as freely to your Switch 1, no. So on your Switch 1, you would go into your profile and you would turn on that online license and you would just boot games like you do now. Like you could just do that now.
Why can't I, on my Switch 2, add my Nintendo online profile to it and just download my digital games and play them?
Yeah, you can. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do a system transfer because I don't want... One, I look at it as like a spring cleaning type. I do this every time a system transfer.
Yeah, I don't want all of these old games.
I don't want to re-download all of those. That's going to take forever. I want to pick and choose. I also don't need every save that I ever had on my Switch 1.
You can just download it from the cloud.
I will do it as needed. Yeah.
So then my next question is for games that don't have an easy cloud save transfer like Splatoon and Animal Crossing.
Some Pokemon games I know are that way. Smash used to be, but I think Smash now does cloud. But for a while, Smash was not cloud, I think. But now it can.
For that, I would either have had to do the system transfer.
Or you could manually transfer the saves as long as the systems were near each other.
I can do that?
You can have two Swiss systems. You can do this today. You can go into your Switch, your what is it called? Data management in your settings. You go to the game you want, not Animal Crossing because it's the system transfer. Give me
but like Splatoon. Let's say Splatoon.
You go to Splatoon. You go, I want to transfer this save to another console, and you get your other console, and you bring them together, and you can locally transfer them. Just don't do it over cloud.
Oh, my headphones are about to die.
Is that why they blink?
In there? Yeah.
Okay.
It just said 10% in my ear. Okay, so then I will do that for Splatoon.
Yeah. And a couple handfuls of games like that. I think there's a couple Pokemon games that are like that. You can manually transfer saves if you have both systems.
Okay, that's good to know because then I can do the linking between the two Switch 2s with me and Josh.
Which is what I would push.
And I can still keep my Animal Crossing island on my Switch Lite and on my Switch OLED. Those are two different islands. And I can start a new island on my Switch 2.
Yeah. Yeah, you could. Because we do that with, so like I don't use this a whole lot, but Jack does. So Jack plays all these Pokemon games. We don't have the Pokemon subscription or whatever, the Pokemon Home. So Jack has like save files on this console and that console that has different Pokemon.
Yeah.
And like when he needs them, he'll move them around as needed. But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that. That's very, very good to hear.
And the reason that I know you can, we used to have to do this with Smash. And then at some point, I think when I got my Zelda, like it just cloud. I was like, wait a minute. The last time I bought a Switch that didn't do this, I had to manually transfer, but I think now you can.
Cool.
So
yeah, I don't see the point of doing a whole Switch transfer if with the fact that you have you can just log in with your Nintendo account and re-download stuff and like
correct. That's the benefit of the digital future is that you do get some convenience like that.
Like how long is it going to take you to download the games that you want on your Switch 2? Like,
and you don't have as much. Well, I don't want to say as much, but your Switch 2 space is limited. And if you're buying Switch 2 games, we had somebody. I forget. So if you're in the chat, I'm sorry if I don't remember your name. But somebody in the chat with this week was like, Donnie, how much do all of those games you have, like how much storage, like would they all fit on a terabyte card? I was like, no, I have several terabytes of Switch 1 games. And he was like, I think I'm just going to not have a card. I'm like, well, if you're buying like any third-party games, that 256 on the Switch 2 is going to be gone.
You're going to have to be deleting games and re-downloading them when you want to play them.
Absolutely, you will have to. Like, even if you're not buying a lot of games, like even if you're not me, if you're like half of me, you can fill that thing up. You can fill that thing up pretty quickly on launch day. Let alone a couple months in, you can fill that thing up pretty fast.
That's why I think I'm just going to download, the games that I want to play, and then like year 2, like I'm going to try to either get a Black Friday deal or ask for Christmas for an upgrade.
I'm sure I'll bring over a couple of like the evergreen games that I play, like Retro Bowl, like things I play all the time, like a Mario Golf. I won't be bringing over a lot of Switch 1 games to Switch 2.
Just download what you need when you're playing it. How long does it really take? Come on.
Because a lot of, for me, it's like I could always just pick up. Like I'm kind of looking at my Switch my Switch
Or
ones
pick
as
up your
extra.
Switch One. Yeah.
I'm looking at them as extra storage.
Yeah.
Like I can download more of my library and leave them there versus taking up
Maybe the
precious memory
games
on my Switch 2.
aren't going to require Switch 2's power. You keep
Correct.
on your
Or that
Switch
they don't
1.
get updates. Exactly. Things like that I don't need to bring up.
Like, it's not like your Switch 1 has to be a brick. Like,
Captain
use it for
Awesome
that.
says it was me. I'm still in the mental debate of physical versus digital.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah, like what my plan is, I have a 1 terabyte card on launch day. As I buy digital games, which will be mostly third-party games that aren't on cartridges, because anything that is, I'll buy it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I will buy until that terabyte card fills up. Once that terabyte card fills up, I'm gonna get another terabyte card and keep it going. And I think Switch 2, I'll get to a point where I just have like 4 or 5 SD cards with all of my library on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Did
I'm
you end
not
up getting that case that you linked to me the other week?
Ooh, which one?
The case where you like sent me a link with a couple different options and like you can put your SD cards and your Switch games in it.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I got 2 of them actually.
Oh, okay.
So I got one. I think I sent it to you. I got the Zelda one. It's brown with like a little.
Yeah, that one looked
kind of-
nice.
Yeah, it's actually very stylish. So on that website that I've been buying, like that auction website I've told you about a couple times where I've been buying games, I logged in one day because I got a thing that they were having an auction. They were selling those for like $3 or $4. So I got another one. I was like,
Okay.
I'll just pick up another one here. But that's funny because I got that one. When you buy these auctions, the more you buy, the cheaper the shipping is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the shipping goes down. So I bought that, and then I bought like another cheap game. I got like a cheap Switch game for like $15. So I enabled free shipping, and I was still playing a game, just listening to this auction go on. And they started running what they call like secret auctions. So essentially, they put a bunch of stuff on the table, and they're like, you're bidding for a chance. Like you don't know what it's going to be a random. So you're going to bid until the bid, and then the wheel spins, and whatever's on the table that spins, you get.
Wow.
So it's kind of like gambling. I don't fuck with that, to be honest with you. Like I don't really like that. But I do find it entertaining.
You could have won $100 like me.
I do find it entertaining watching people do this. Like I watched somebody do like an $80 bid and end up getting like a game, like getting like the Grinch's Christmas or something. I was like,
wow.
that sucks for this guy.
Oh my God.
This guy just got burned. So I'm watching this auction go, and it's getting lower and lower and lower and lower. And a lot of it was graded games, which I think is nonsense. But I understand there's a lot of collectors and they like the grades and all that. They're trying to turn it into like Pokemon cards or something. So there was this one person who put in a bid for like, they won the bid. It was like $52. And they got a graded perfect copy of Tears of the Kingdom or something. Apparently it's worth like $500.
What?
I was like, holy crap.
What do you mean?
So it kept bidding. Rebecca, it gets down to like the last 5 items. I watched this thing for like an hour. And then when I say watched, like I was playing a game that was just playing next to me. The last 5 items on the table, 4 of them were collector's editions, and 1 of them was just a game. I don't remember what the game was, but it wasn't a very good game. It was like a $30 game.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there looking, I was like, I have a 4 out of 5 chance of
That's
getting
a pretty
one of
good
these collector's
chance.
editions. I was like, I think I'm gonna bid. And because he sold like 120 items, as it got to the end, even though the items on the table were value, I think people were just like out of money. Like people just weren't bidding as high as they were. Because when they first came in, the bids were like $70, $80, $90. I was like, that's too much. I got a bid in as item number 5 left. I got a bid in for $34 was the winning bid.
So like even if you got the junk item,
even if I got the junk one, it wasn't
even.
that big of it. Exactly. Yeah. And I got Sifu Collector's Edition, which is this gigantic box for Sifu on Switch. I didn't even like Sifu, but I was like, sure, I'll put it in the collection. Like I'll just put it up there because
how much is that worth?
Box. I have no idea. But the guy said, the guy who was doing the auction, he goes, because I've bought from him multiple times. He goes, DK, he's like, it's going to cost me more to ship you this box than you just paid for the box.
Wow.
So that was pretty funny. Yeah, but yeah, I got another one of those cases too. So I have 2 of those cases. Okay. So I plan on using those. I'll keep my physical Switch 2 games in there. So my Cyberpunk and my Breath of the Wild and stuff. And then I'll keep my SD cards in there.
Your SD cards, good.
And I think my plan is I'm going to buy as much physical as we're allowed to. Like that's going to happen. So if Nintendo keeps making physicals, I'm going to keep buying them. And then everything else, I'll just buy digitally.
Yeah. Okay.
So like all third party, anything game key card, I'm just digital on all of that.
I'm going
At
full
least
digital
then,
for Zelda.
at least then, maybe we have a chance on the Switch 3 or whatever. At least we'll bring our library. Hopefully, bring our library. Not guaranteed, but maybe bring our library with us.
Yep.
I think there's a better chance of that than relying on the game key card to keep working.
Agreed.
Unless their plan is to just keep doing this over and over again. Like if
Depends on how well this works, right?
like if they have the
Probably
Switch 3,
testing
the
the
Switch
waters.
4, they could just keep the game key card thing going, and then those game key cards just stay working for a lot longer than we think. That's possible. Donnie, we need a link to your grip. Oh, I bought a cheap grip. I'll bring it up if you want to see it. But it's like really I just bought something. You haven't bought any accessories, right, Rebecca?
Not at this time.
Okay, let me go pull these up. I would show you, but they're actually, it's over there. It's on my Switch shelf, so I can't even open it unless you're going to go get it for you. This is the grip I bought. Let's see here. Share. Screen. There. This is the grip I bought. I'll go get it. Hang on.
It lights up. I'm still waiting to buy. I have a seller on Etsy, Blue Roboto, that I got my my Switch 1 case from. And I messaged him and I asked, "Are you going to be making cases for the Switch 2 ahead of the Switch 2's launch?" And he said, "I'm going to wait till I get one to make sure everything fits and everything, because it is bigger."
The reason I bought this grip is I originally pre-ordered the Satisfy gripping case. Which I'm excited about because I think Satisfy nailed it. Like their grip was the best on Switch 1. So I was excited for it. And then they sent out an email saying, "Hey, we're hoping to ship this summer." And I was like, "Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good at all." Like, I definitely don't think they're going to be there on launch day, which is kind of a bummer. But honestly, with all the tariffs and everything, I'm like, I don't know what that means. That could be in August, September. I don't want to wait that long. So I got this grip instead. This grip was $15 or something like that, super cheap. I had like $8 in rewards points, so I got it for like $8. And then I got this case. But this is what the grip looks like, I guess, in person. Let me hide this on the screen. So this is what it looks like in person.
Oh.
And it's just a little plastic grip. The reason that I got this one instead of anything else is you notice there's a hole in the back, so the kickstand will work. And then with this one, with that being the case, this should go into the dock. So you should be able to dock it with the grip on, so you're not taking it on and off, which is important to me. So I got this just in case, you know. I am. Are you worried at all about the Switch, about holding the Switch 2?
What do you mean holding it?
It seems really big. like
I'm used to holding the Steam Deck.
It seems
it's
really
not as big
big
as the Steam Deck.
Yeah, no, you're right. Not as heavy, not as bulky. It just seems like wide, like tall. Like it's just.
Yeah,
it's a lot bigger than I think people are there than they think.
We will have a shock taking it out of the box. And
yeah,
I think there will be a little period of whoa, that's kind of weird. But
so
I think
I feel like I need a grip. like I feel like I'm like it's pretty big. Like I need something to hold on to, you know, than just the flat Joy-Con. Yeah. I think the flatness of it would be a bother for me. So I got that, and then as a case, because I also want a case that the grip will go into, is I got the JSO grip for the Steam Deck. Mm-hmm. People use this for the Portal. They use it for the Ally. Like it's just a giant case. So the Switch 2 should fit in here with any grip on it, I would imagine. So, yeah, much cheaper than the Satisfy stuff. The Satisfy stuff was like $60. This is like, I think I'm in for both of these things like $25. So it's not that big.
I think it's a good investment.
It's just a cheap thing until better options come out, right? Until Satisfy starts hitting the market and other, like I'd imagine other alternatives come out. I just do this for day one and figure it out later.
Yeah.
So, like with Switch 1, I really liked like those pro style Joy-Cons. So like that would be something I would like. Maybe instead of having a grip, maybe I wait for a Hori split pad or a MOBA pad or something to try.
I'm waiting until Colorware comes out with options.
Something else to consider. Yeah.
Or like,
so like I was thinking that maybe instead of a grip, maybe I get something like that instead.
Yeah. Well, that was our last question.
Cool.
We did it.
Fun
no
show.
Delvin this time. We miss him.
Do we?
I do.
I know you do.
He didn't show up because he knew my mom wouldn't be able to listen this time. So his biggest fan wasn't in attendance.
He's like, I don't need to be there. If she's not there, I don't need to be there.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I don't know. I guess I should probably call her, see if she's conscious. All right, good show.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week with additional news from the week.
Another week down.
Another week down. We're 1 month away.
We have 4 shacks. We are 4 shacks away from Nintendo Switch 2.
Good. We can taste
Closer
it
than
now.
ever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. All right, Koopalings, we will see you next time. Take care. Stay safe.
Whenever you're ready.
All right. This is Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening. And I forgot the line already. What?